Bank of Ghana. So a startling revelation has emerged from Honorable Kojo Nkrumah. He's sounding the alarm that our central bank is now policy insolvent, with an actual loss reaching a staggering 44 billion Ghana cedis. But here's the twist. Those losses could have been worse if it wasn't for our controversial sale of gold reserves. We are going to dive into the data and political fallout of this 44 billion Ghana cedis. Before Paul joins us for the show, let's watch this.
The rebuttal has been said, gold, no, Bank of Ghana at Shell said, as part of our portfolio management, and you could hear say I was say omo eton, because as a central bank, no, there is a percentage of omo revenues be also mutimi AKP in some of those assets. Omufisena akosrododo. They have to diversify and sell. To them a part of our normal operations. How do you respond?
They don't waste their time on too many insults.
I fancy if you are Brazil, cases. Me mammy a fancy.
Sure.
Mina na chair me fancy. Be see iyo no ye ehruda hurada.
Ehruda hurada sem.
Fancy mo see iyo no ye ehruda hurada. Smokes and mirrors.
Really?
I'm telling you. I'll come there.
Okay.
But I'm saying to you, say, so we saw gold sale in FIMA.
Yes.
Their policy in some. Now let me take you back. The person of Kai 2025 in Komobia, many deal with them. Many didn't come on and 3 interviews.
Yes.
One was on the losses that were being made on the gold purchase program.
Yeah.
2 was about the sterilization as a tool for mopping up excessive liquidity in the economy.
Okay.
And 3 was about the unexplained sale of 50% of our gold reserves. Getting to the end of the year, after September, October, almost 50% of your gold reserves.
Yes.
At the time, no, and nobody could understand why they sold 50% of the gold reserves when there was a policy to actually accumulate more gold. At the time, Omukache said we are over concentrated in gold. Now gold near about 40% of your reserves. Into Omuton they cash.
Yes.
Then very quickly they came back with what they call gun wrap. Say gold no matone crown. Say so Omubabe buy back that gold and more.
Yes.
And who had the pricing now? The price of the new gold they were going to buy was going to be higher than the price of the old gold they had sold because gold prices were rising. So everybody was wondering what informed the policy decision to sell the gold. Sir explanation say na yaye over concentrated in gold. Frantini Beka say oye huda rada. Hey, Bank of Ghana omo prepare management accounts every quarter. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September.
Yes.
When in September they compiled their management accounts, we know an authority said that is when they knew they were policy insolvent.
And now so when
did they sell the gold?
Last quarter.
November, December, no gold. No. It was after September management accounts by who said they were policy. Year page 1 when who said they were policy insolvent. Then they quickly decided, they said the only way is to introduce a new revenue line. That is to sell the gold. So that story they told us said they sold 50% of the gold to rebalance the portfolio. Now the evidence is here. And there are notes from the auditors that explains it is a one-off sale.
KPMG Etro Bibisa.
I will find the notes for you. Say it is a one-off.
Now, when it comes to the debate of family and friends and the government, NPP isn't holding down. They are pointing their fingers right back. In a clip from Good Morning Ghana, Dennis Marco Sabwaje argues that the NDC is living in a glass house, alleging that under President Mahama, it's not just about family and friends, it's an entire system. From big contracts down to, as he puts it, canopies and chairs. He issues a warning that if the attack continues, he's going to come all out with details and names. Let's watch this.
I don't know whether Shamima this morning is becoming a weapon fashion against the NDC. Because, you see, you are talking about the MPP and the Kufuado taking businesses that were supposed to go to the states and other people to their family members. Hey, there is no government in the history of this country that has committed such family and friends crime than the NDC under John Mahama. No government in the history of this country. You know, John Mahama and this NDC government, His Excellency, are in their 6th year of governance. 6th year. His Excellency John Mahama, this is his 6th year. No government can beat him and Shamima when it comes to family and friends. She herself, she's not the only one in government. Because she's not the only one in her family that is NDC member. So she's enjoying. Her family members are also enjoying. You understand what I'm saying? But here she is, having left hers at home, and she's coming to accuse the Kufuor. That's why I'm saying that she should take her time and pick the issues, because she'll be drawing herself into a area that she shouldn't draw. Today in this country, the Mahama brothers, you see, she's going to invite me into things that ideally I don't want to get into, because I personally, I don't hold that view. I don't think that there is anything wrong with a president and the brother being competent or cousin or something. I have always had an issue. I had an issue when she and the party came after Kenuforiata and Gabi Ochedakun. Because I don't think that because my brother Moro has become president, all of a sudden my business should collapse. When I was doing my business before Moro became president.
It's a matter of principle.
Well, yes. That is why I always try so much not to, be drawn into it. But she can't even do that in this country. Which business is being done by any other person apart from their government and their friends? Including even canopies and chairs. Canopies and chairs. Go to the ministries. Her department at the office of the president. Every canopy and chairs for every ministry and department, every event. Ask her where it's going to. Is it not going to the deputy chief of staff's company? Were we not here when the deputy chief of staff's company was seen to be grabbing contracts all over the place? And she's talking, she's talking about the Kufuor government taking businesses from SIC, but you forget this. You see, you are inviting me into area that you hurt people. People who are minding their business. People who are minding their business, you are going to draw them into unnecessary things this morning. That Kufuor and his government did what? Mention one. You say SIC. When we have taken everything today, we have basically swept everything to one group of persons, including you. It includes you. It includes you, because you're not the only one chopping in your family. Under the NDC, some of your party people who went so hard don't even have anything. But you have gotten it, and other family members have also gotten it in the same family, in your same house.
What are you even talking about?
You understand? So we need to be very careful when we are guilty of certain things, and we forget ourselves and try to draw an old standing propaganda just to our benefit. You hurt yourself, and in hurting yourself, you hurt so many other people.
Okay.
So many other people needlessly. Okay. And I think that she needs to be very cautious. If she doesn't listen, because you realize I've restrained myself a lot when it comes to some of the things. If she doesn't listen and stick to the issue, and she decides to bring it up, I will go all out, and the people watching me will know that to be her fault.
Meseboma Kufuor on TV, so national television. No one can say I started this and I completed this before I left office. It be ni Ghana history mu. And no more that mo do mu huna mo. Ode won nya mobo. Unim sika Kufuor te so. Unim sika na nana no te so. Unim sika we leading Kufuor mo wia. Oye lazy 99% be nante. Wait. Oye bronia anka beba na obo tennis. Kufuor ni age awedu no. Oye bronia anka no pebe obo so jogi. He is just lazy. He doesn't want to work because obenya kwase bia piano. He is just lazy. He's not disabled. Mama fane kwase disabled category. On Betna TV so no kan kire ye say juma de we na me starting na me yi me nsafiri ho bibia ni wo Kufuor timi wie. Not a single thing.
No me na me copy bibi so. O man no niam bi ho a onfi onka ho asem enya nasem. Me nua kuma Kevin. E catch represent Kufuor say o ye lazy nti na o te wheelchair mu no person obesora na nti no. Kevin. I think say you need to apologize to the old boy. Makanaboko. Say we apologize to the old boy because anya hwe kura no yare ye fansere nipa. What you say? Anya hwe kura no yare ye fansere nipa. Ye to so bi o say defense ministry dina isi ho no. Ni nua ketwa eye defense minister of Ghana ha. E na wo hyase na wo wieye. The defense ministry na isi ho no. Ye won na hyase na wo wieye. Kofi Annan peacekeeping center na isi ho no. Enye Kofi Annan de si ye ne kapre ni peacekeeping center na isi ho no. Adokofo defense minister and the Jacobfor as president. Na say Japade kakraka na isi ho no. Eba be si ho. Menka de aka no. Be ma wo nan wa yenhuri ntrafra o. Ka na bre o say ya.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the show. It's always a pleasure to come to you on Tuesday and Thursday. Tonight, we have a big deal. The Bank of Ghana has issued a statement last week that has caused many studios, media studios, online bloggers, corporate people, markets people to be discussing the state of affairs and the health of the central bank. The New Patriotic Party have issued a statement about it. Kojo Nkrumah, one of the spokespeople, has said quite a bit about it. In fact, it's so bad that they suggest that the Bank of Ghana's losses is actually more than has been disclosed. Tonight in the studio, we'll have Dr. Gideon Boako and Professor Ebo Texon, who both will share their views with us on what is the Bank of Ghana situation. There are those who are asking the question that, well, what does all of this mean? Does it mean somebody has stolen money? Does it mean there's corruption? Is there dereliction of duty? What has really happened? Ebo Texon and Gideon Boako will walk us through the details. And then when they are finished, you can make a decision and answer your own question. But if you still have questions, of course, you can always send it to Good Evening Ghana Official on Facebook, and then we will take it from there. Our first story, though, is not an economic story. It's a legal story. Last week, President John Dramani Mahama once again issued his clear and tacit support to the Office of the Special Prosecutor and their operations. People are getting confused about the government's position on the OSP because you hear from one aspect of the government, the Attorney General's department, and other people, other influential people within the government think that the OSP should go. They think that the OSP's law is actually contrary to the Constitution, and they are already in court to sort that out. However, when Mahama Ayariga, the majority leader, and Roxanne Dafiamakwa, the majority chief whip, both decided to use a parliamentary process to oust the OSP, it was again President Mahama who stood firm in support of the OSP. And Mahama Ayariga actually announced to the parliament that His Excellency the President had consulted him and asked him to withdraw the amendment or the bill that they had in Parliament to strike out Act 959. Why was the President interfering in parliamentary process? We don't know. Why did Mahama Ayariga have to tell us that it was the President who asked him to withdraw? We don't know. But it leaves us with a lot of questions. Tonight, we're going to mount the touch screen and tell you the details about the latest of what's happening between the OSP and the Attorney General. Will the OSP go away? Will they take him away? Will they succeed in doing so? Well, about 12 CSOs have said no, and they have hired a lawyer to go to the Supreme Court to make arguments in favor of the Office of the Special Prosecutor staying as it is, no change. Also tonight, we'll bring you Mr. Ernesto Forisapon, who is the president of the Presec Old Boys Odadie Global. He has today donated a full house to Presec Legon, a 60-bed, I guess to be the biggest house in Presec. When I was there, I was in Engman House, and Engman House had about maybe 45 bed for all of us. Now, there's a 60-bed that is going. I'm not sure what they call the house, but we'll show you the videos and you see it. As you may know, Ernesto Forisapon is celebrating his 60th birthday today, and there's a big deal going on in East Legon. But we'll share with you the philanthropy part that he has done, giving Presec his old school, paying back to the school a whole new, brand new house. He will not be the first. Of course, Francis Baini has already done that, but Ernesto Forisapon is doing one now. So we'll be showing you the photographs of it. So let's take a quick relaxing break, just a 1-minute video that we all used to like that you have not seen in a while. Watch this 1 minute video, and then we mount the touchscreen to do the legal story. By the time we finish, you will know whether the OSP is staying or whether he's going. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live.
I'm not waiting for anybody to make me happy. I'm happy myself. Oh, after mass, I don't want anybody to congratulate me. When I enter my room and I take my bottle of club, I open it into the glass. Oh, listen. I use the glass to hit the bottle. I say cheers. I cheer myself. I'm not waiting for anybody to cheer me up because I know who I am. I know that I am a seed. Wherever you.
I hope you enjoyed that video. Remember that, don't you? Blessed, the Catholic priest. Okay, so what do we have here? Attorney General versus OSP. Where do we go from here? Now, this has been this come back on the news because at the weekend, President John Dramani Mahama says something. Mahama backs special prosecutorial powers for OSP. The story is very well put because actually the controversy is about the powers of the OSP to prosecute. We're going to do a bit of legal education here, so let's pay attention. So there are three groups of people involved in this controversy. Yeah, there are three groups of people. The first group of people is the AG's group, the Attorney General and his group. That's one set. Then the Office of the Special Prosecutor and Civil Society, they are another set. And then the third one is the Presidency, that is the Office of the President. These are the three groups who are concerned with this OSP versus Attorney General controversy, and it's heading all the way to the Supreme Court. So let's go through very quickly. So who are in the AG's group? In the AG's group has the Attorney General himself. He's here, Dr. Dominic Ayini. And then you have Justice Sremsai. He's the Deputy Attorney General. You have Mahama Ayariga, is the Majority Leader who actually has demonstrated his clear opposition to the OSP, except for the fact that he told Parliament that the President called him to drop the action that he was taking. He was bringing a bill in Parliament to strike out the OSP law, strike out the OSP altogether. He was supported by Roxanne Dafiamapo. Both of them are lawyers. Roxanne Dafiamapo, the Majority Whip, was also very much in charge of that. And he only did this because the OSP annoyed him by arresting the guy here, Mr. Martin Pebu, the man who they say does not belong to the community of reading men. But that's Martin Pebu over here. And his arrest occasioned the two up here, Roxanne Dafiamapo and Mahama Ayariga, to bring up a motion. Teddy Osori has written about it. He comes from a slightly different angle. My friend Teddy is alleging that the OSP's conduct is a big part of this process. He doesn't quite say much about the details of the law. I don't know what role he's playing in the matter before the Supreme Court, but his real concern has to do also with the OSP's conduct. Dr. Grace Ayensu, who is a Deputy Minister of Health, who is a surgeon but not a lawyer, has also weighed into the matter. So you will see that all of these people and other people that we don't have on the touchscreen are leading the AG's group's opinion, which is that the OSP must go. Now, the OSP must go situation is now in the Supreme Court and is led by Justice Sremsai's deputy. Somebody who was working with Sremsai in his law firm is the one who was actually taking the action. So they are not hiding anything. They are straightforward. They are going for the jugular. They do not want the OSP as a result of what we believe is fear, but that's another matter. Then the rest of the people, OSP and the civil society. So this is the OSP group. Here is Kisia Jabain, who is the OSP himself. Here is Oliver Vomaho, who is the lawyer for the civil society group. Here is H. Kwesi Prempeh, who is credited with actually drafting important portions of the OSP law. It has been said that H. Kwesi Prempeh is the one who drafted important portions of the OSP law. So he's also in big support of it. And then this is Samuel Darko, who works with the OSP, is the PRO. And Anas Arimia Anas is very, very important in this equation. And we'll be coming to that in detail when we talk about the judges. Anas is very important. Now, he is backing the OSP big time, full time, completely. Franklin Kujo is civil society, and they are all backing the OSP to stay the same way as the OSP is now in terms of the law. Now, this is the presidency. It's led by President John Dramani Mahama. And then you have the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah. You have Stanislav Dogbe, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff. Felix Kwachio Fosu, who is the government communication person, Oyelita, Deputy Chief of Staff, Edudzi Tamaklo has spoken recently in support of the OSP and also indicating that President Mahama has indicated clearly that he is not in favor of pushing the OSP away. So Edudzi Tamaklo, we add him to the presidency. And then you also have Marietta Brew, who is a former Attorney General, but who is also echoing the presidency's view of the matter. We're going to be dealing with all of that. Okay, so let's now get to the story. What is the OSP saying? What are the two competing arguments? Yeah. So the two competing arguments will be found in the case. Here is the competing argument. What's the case of the Attorney General? We'll get into detail in a minute, but here is the summary. The Attorney General is arguing that every prosecution by the OSP must be submitted to his office for authorization pursuant to Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution. The case of the OSP is that they argue, that's the OSP and the civil society, they argue that the said authorization has already been given by the OSP, Act and LI 2374, such that the OSP has been given the discretion to exercise the prosecutorial powers of the state. So these are the competing arguments. The first argument is that no personality, no individual can have exclusive prosecutorial powers according to Article 88 of the Constitution. Those powers are for the Attorney General only, exclusively. Yes, the Attorney General may authorize people, but they're arguing that the kind of authorization that the OSP is saying he has, he cannot have that kind of authorization. We'll get into the details. So let's move on. So now we have to understand, after we get the case, that of the three groups of people, certainly viewers, one is being deceived. I'll show you. Let's get to it. This is the first interesting part of our conversation. There is the ages group. There's the OSP and civil society, and there's a presidency. One of these two groups is being deceived because both of them believe that they have the confidence of the presidency. That's really what it is. Now, the OSP group firmly believes that they have the confidence of the presidency because that's what the president has said. The president has stopped Mahama Ayariga from going into parliament and amending laws to cancel Act 959. So they believe that the president has protected them. Recently, the president has said again that he supports the OSP's prosecutorial powers. So they believe that the presidency is with them. But the ages group are the president's people. These are people who are very close to the president. These are people who talk to him every day. These are people who work for him. These are people who have worked for him for the last maybe 12 years. Certainly, they will know the president's sentiments about matters and every matter. For them to consistently put themselves together and argue publicly against the Attorney General's office suggests that they suspect that what they are doing is not an affront to the president. If they knew or they were convinced that what they were doing is an affront to the president, they wouldn't proceed. But they are proceeding very strongly, including going to court with a quo warranto, then going to court now to the Supreme Court for an interpretation. They are going for the jugular. And I'm saying they wouldn't do that if they were confident, or confidence is not a word. They wouldn't do that if they were worried that what they are doing is an affront to the president. So somebody is being deceived. Either this OSP and the civil society are being heavily deceived that they have the president's endorsement when in fact they may not have, or the Attorney General's group are being heavily deceived that what they are doing is not an affront to the president when in fact it may be. We'll find out when we get there. Let's get on to the story. Okay, so this is the case, and we already told you the differences between the two actions. Now, let's get into a bit of detail. So what are we starting with? Let's start with the, we wanted to start with the other one. Let's start with the purposive approach. So let me just explain this conservative and purposive approach. So we are arguing that as the matter goes before the Supreme Court, there will be two sides of the matter. Those judges who will choose the conservative approach will say that the Act 959 is an affront to the 1992 Constitution, that the 1992 Constitution is supreme, Article 88 is supreme. The OSP cannot have endless prosecutorial powers. He must get authorization on a case-by-case basis from the Attorney General. And then those who are saying, let me finish with that. Those who are saying the purposive approach are going to say that if you ask the OSP, this is those judges who will go, let me have that again. if you go, those judges who are going the purposive approach, there are two ways of interpreting matters, and we don't want to get into the legalese of it. But this is the purposive approach, the conservative approach. So the purposive approach is those who are arguing purposive are going to say that Act 959 is correct, that it hasn't violated any law. That in fact, the purpose of setting up the office of the special prosecutor would be defeated if you have to go to Parliament or go to the Attorney General and ask him on a case-by-case basis. So assuming that you are investigating the Minister of Finance, and we have had an OSP who has investigated the Minister of Finance. Assuming that you are investigating the Minister of Sanitation, and we have had an OSP who has investigated the Minister of Sanitation, and you go to the Attorney General, give me a fiat to go and prosecute your colleague minister, perhaps the Attorney General, given all the pressures on him, might not yield to that. So let us take out the Attorney General from the OSP's processes. And that's what Act 959 did. And that's what LI 2374 Regulation 11 did. So they are going to argue that purposive judges are going to say that, look, on this matter, the OSP is fine. So we will see what happens. We are going to continue in this story. We are going to show you Supreme Court judges, and we are going to make guesses, suggestions based on how they've ruled before as to whether they will go conservative or they will go purposive. The case has not yet been called. We don't even know the quorum. The quorum means the panel. We don't know that yet. So, but we will do our speculation based on the 15 Supreme Court judges that are now in place. Okay, so let's get to the matter. So purposive approach is this. Now, they are going to likely to argue more on the meaning of authorization, which will rely on the OSP's Act, the LI. Now, Section 4, before then, viewers, let me just come to Article 11. Before then, let me just pick Article 11 and let's understand something in Article 11 before we go on. Thank you very much. Here's Article 11. Okay. So Article 11 is in Chapter 4 of the Constitution, the laws of Ghana, Article 11. Now, this Article 11 details the laws of Ghana in terms of which law, the hierarchy of laws, I should say, which law is better, because we know that Ghana has come from a history. So 1992 Constitution was created in 1992. But before 1992, Ghana was under laws. 1960, we had a parliament, we have the coups who performed decrees. So we don't throw all of those laws away when we find a constitution. We find a way to put them in. There are some laws that are obnoxious, which it will say that any law that is found to be inconsistent with this constitution shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be null and void. That's what the law says. So we are going to show you the hierarchy of laws. Then you can understand those saying that Act 959 cannot do this and cannot do that. This is the hierarchy of laws of Ghana. The laws of Ghana shall comprise A, this constitution. So that's the ultimate. That's the first one. B, enactments made by or under the authority of Parliament established by this constitution. So 1 is constitution, 2 is the Act of Parliament. 3, any orders, rules, and regulations made by any person or authority under a power conferred by this constitution. So, a power conferred by the constitution on the president, he makes a law. A power conferred on this constitution by a minister, he can do an executive instrument, EI, etc. 3, the existing law, that is to say everything that the PNDC, the Champon regime, all of them had done. And then number E is the common law. The common law is the common law of England, which is studied by lawyers and people connected with the judicial dispensation of justice and civil rights. Okay, so that's how it works. So the constitution is first, parliament is second. So you cannot really mix them up like that. All right. So the purposive approach is as follows. Those arguing the purposive, that's the argument for the OSP, is going to be as follows. They are likely to argue a more purposive meaning of authorization, which will rely on the OSP's Act and LI. So the OSP's Act establishes the office of the OSP. And then it says that subject to Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution, the OSP may obtain authorization from Parliament. Yes, that's what it agrees with that. The OSP Act agrees that authorization from the Attorney General, not Parliament. Authorization from the Attorney General. So the OSP's law allows him to get power from the Attorney General. But then the Attorney General of the day went to Parliament with a legislative instrument, an LI 2374, which then said that as Attorney General, they have given that authorization to the OSP. So LI 2374 is backing Act 959. That this office of the special prosecutor has received that authorization requested by the Constitution in the Act 959 and the LI. The combined effect of the Act and the LI gives the OSP that power. Let's see whether we can see it here. Okay. Office of the Special Prosecutor, Operations Regulation 2018, LI 2374, Prosecution Regulation 11 thereof. It says, Decision to prosecute. A. The special prosecutor or an authorized officer shall, upon considering the facts and evidence gathered from an investigation, take a decision whether or not to prosecute. So, Regulation 11 here says that the OSP's inhibition to prosecute a matter after investigation depends solely on the OSP. If he makes a decision to prosecute, there it is. If he makes a decision not to prosecute, that's the end of the matter. The Attorney General doesn't come in. Now, all of those speaking for the Attorney General are saying that this cannot stand. The Attorney General must come in. But it was Parliament that passed Regulation 2374. So Parliament has given him that power. Now, if you go back to Article 11 as we learned, you will find out that Parliament's authority comes next to the Constitution. So there are those who are saying that where the Constitution has done something, Parliament cannot vary it. So they are making the point. I'm making the purposive approach points. Let me just finish that and come to the other one. So this is the purposive approach point, okay? So they are saying that Parliament has given them that power already, so that the OSP doesn't need one case, go to Attorney General. Case 2, go to Attorney General. So the OSP is prosecuting Kwame Abuja, Minister for Roads. He has to go to Attorney General. The OSP wants to prosecute Minister for Trade. He has to go to the Attorney General. The Attorney General may say yes or no. They are saying that that defeats the purpose of the OSP Act entirely. And Parliament has done a great job by putting LI 2374. Parliament can repeal LI 2374. They can do that. And some lawyers have suggested to the Attorney General that you don't need this long rigmarole of processes. Just tell Parliament that you brought LI 2374. You are here to repeal it. Once you repeal LI 2374, the OSP is naked. He now has to come to you because the OSP Act 959 alone is not enough for the OSP to prosecute. He needs the regulation. That's why they call it Office of the Special Prosecutor Operations Regulation 2018 LI 2374. So the Attorney General can do that, but he's not doing that. He doesn't want to do that. He's doing other things, quo warranto, Supreme Court, etc. So this is the case of those saying that keep the OSP. There's nothing wrong with it. If you are not afraid of corruption, every prosecutorial power the OSP has been given to him. There's no confusion about legal philosophy. Everything is correct, and the Constitution has been duly obeyed. That's them. Now, let's move to the conservative approach. So the conservative approach being argued by the Attorney General is as follows. Now, they are going to argue that the word authorization means case-by-case authorization by the AG. Article 88 says, all offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. So that's what they say. That's what the article says. That the Attorney General is the one on whose instance a suit will be mounted at the court against any Ghanaian for prosecution. So what is their case? Their case is that, yes, you have LI 2374. Yes, you have it. Yes, you have Act 595. But the 1992 Constitution did not intend for any other person to have exclusive prosecutorial powers based on an LI. They also make the point that a power given to an institution under the Constitution cannot be varied by Parliament because Parliament is lower than the Constitution. An Act of Parliament is lower than the Constitution. So if Constitution has given ultimate prosecutorial powers to the Attorney General, but says that the Attorney General can authorize other people, Parliament cannot vary it, cannot vary the nature of the authorization, because that authorization given from the Attorney General to police, given from the Attorney General to customs, given from the Attorney General to SNIT, given from the Attorney General to here they are, Ghana Police Service, IOCO, EPA, and SNIT, all of these people who hold the Attorney General's authority to prosecute, their authority to prosecute is on a case-by-case basis, so that on every prosecution, they will be able to show that they have obtained the authorization from the Attorney General. So what happened in court, the High Court the other day, which brought this matter to the fore, was that somebody showed up in court being prosecuted by the OSP. He asked the High Court that the OSP must show the warrant for his prosecution because Article 88 says that all prosecutions will be at the instance of the Attorney General. And the OSP was not able to show a specific warrant from the Attorney General for this particular case, for that particular case that was before the High Court. Therefore, the High Court judge declined the OSP and said that go and collect a warrant from the Attorney General, because that is my understanding of the law. You always must produce a warrant by the Attorney General. Then there was another case that the OSP was prosecuting, where the defense people went to court after this one and told the judge that we also want the OSP to go and get a warrant. The judge said, I do not agree with that ruling. I am a High Court judge of comparable jurisdiction, so I will not listen to the High Court. The High Court judge over there is not imposed on me. What is imposed on me by stare decisis is the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. A High Court of equivalent jurisdiction and hierarchy cannot tell me what to do. So, as far as I'm concerned, I will proceed and hear the OSP, because I believe that LI 2374 grants him the warrant so to do. So this is the confusion in the court. One court says, OSP, bring your warrant. Another court says, well, he may ask for that. I don't want any warrant. I proceed. So the matter will now naturally head for the apex court so they can determine it. So the conservative approach here is saying that you cannot vary the AG's prosecutorial powers by a legislative instrument. You cannot do that, because the AG's prosecutorial powers is sacrosanct and is given in the Constitution. Let's come back to the purposive approach people. The purposive approach of people make a certain point. Let me have back the other prosecutorial people, the customs and all of them. Now, the AG's, the OSP and civil society are saying that Ghana Police Service, IOCO, EPA and customs, they are led by people appointed only by the president. They are led by people appointed only by the president. That it is not for nothing that the office of the special prosecutor is given a certain appointment that mimics the procedure of Article 78. Now, what is in Article 78? Article 78 prescribes the appointments of ministers of state. 79 prescribes the appointments of deputy ministers of state. Now, in Article 78, the Constitution, the fundamental, the highest law, says that ministers who are appointed by the president will only be called nominees, because they will have to go to Parliament to face Parliament's appointments committee. Thereupon, they will be given the all clear to become ministers, and then the president can swear them in. So there'll be one or two instances where the president has appointed people and they have not survived the parliamentary hearing. Those arguing for the OSP are saying that it is not for nothing that the OSP's appointment process was made to look like that of a minister. So the president, the attorney general, actually nominates to the president. The president then sends the name to parliament. And then, as you can see in these videos, Martin Amido appearing before the appointments committee, Kisia Jabe appearing before the appointments committee. There you see them appearing before the appointments committee. The argument is being made that the Inspector General of Police, when he's appointed, he does not appear before the appointments committee. It is for a reason. The head of IOCO is appointed only by the executive. IGP appointed only by the executive. You have here EPA boss appointed by the executive. And of course, the Director General of Senate is appointed only by the executive. There's a reason why the OSP's appointment, even though he's going to exercise a role like these institutions, his appointment goes to Parliament so that Parliament can have a role, because this OSP is going to be given an unfettered power to prosecute within the tenure of his mandate. This is the story. That's what they are saying. That the reason why the OSP's own is different is because he's not the same. He's up there. So this is the argument before the court. Now let's go before the judges and see what's going to happen. This is the final part of this argument. I hope you follow me and you like it. So the judges are going to have a dilemma, isn't it? Should I open it? Okay, the judges are going to have a dilemma. So there's Justice Bafo-Bonny, the Chief Justice. I'm guessing that on such an important matter, he must empanel himself. So perhaps he will do that. Now, where is the Chief Justice going to stand? If you look at Justice Bafo-Bonny and the way he's ruled, sometimes he's gone conservative, sometimes he's gone purposive. But those who know him suggest that Justice Bafo-Bonny is quite conservative. Given his role throughout the court system and all of that, he's quite conservative. And he might think that what Article 88 has said, a law from Parliament should not be able to vary it. That the OSP must go on a case-by-case basis to the Attorney General, so we all have peace. We are suspecting that this is how Justice Bafo-Bonny is going to rule. Justice Gabriel Poaman is going to be very strong, we believe, he's going to go on Article 88. We are guessing. We think that given his background, Gabe Palmer is a conservative thinker, and you know that he was a member of the PNC, which is a conservative party. So we think that Justice Gabriel Palmer is going to go the other way. This is Justice Amadou Tanko. It's difficult to tell where Tanko is going to go. And Amadou Tanko had a lot of his training in Nigeria, and his legal mentors are in Nigeria. He's a very philosophical judge. Very. So, yeah, he might swing either way. You know, there are philosophical judges who might think that LI 2374 has done it, and let's move on with it. But there are also some philosophical judges who are conservative and who will think that, look, let the 1992 Constitution remain the same. If the president wants to do something, he shall amend the Constitution. Let's not tamper with the Constitution. Because if we start doing that, tomorrow Parliament will create another Chief Justice. Now, Parliament has almost created another Attorney General who is prosecuting for criminal offenses. They have not just given him powers to look at civil cases, but they've created another Attorney General in the OSP. So Tanko might think that if this continues, tomorrow another Parliament comes, they create another Chief Justice, they create another IGP using the liberty of parliamentary laws. We think he just might swing the way of Article 88. All right, who is? Henrietta Mensah Bonsu has taught me before. I know her. She's going to go purposive. Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, if she's empaneled, is going to make the argument that, look here. This is a purposive approach to anti-corruption. We have to stop corruption at some point. She's a criminal law expert, so she's very well versed in these things. We are very sure of Henrietta Mensah Bonsu. We think that she's going to go purposive. Justice Kulendi is philosophical. Everyone knows that. Justice Yoni Kulendi is very philosophical. So your guess is as good as mine. Tell me, where do you think Justice Kulendi will go? Is he going to say that Article 88 should stand? Or is he going to say that enough has been done for the Office of the Special Prosecutor to work, given Act 959 and LI 2374? What's going to happen? I don't know. It's difficult to read Justice Kulendi in this matter because you see, you can bring out philosophy in both angles. You can bring out philosophy in LI 2374. You can bring out philosophy in the 1992 Constitution, Article 88. I'm not sure. If you ask me, tight. Depending on how if he's on the panel, depending on how the other panel members swing, I just feel that Justice Kulendi will pick up 2374. He'll go purposive. All right. Justice Lovelace Johnson, we don't know that well. We have looked at her rulings. It's difficult to tell. We think that she will swing with the majority of the panel. If she's empaneled, she probably will swing with the majority of the panel. Let's see the rest and how it goes. Justice Adibu Asiedu, we think will do Article 88. We think Adibu Asiedu will do Article 88. His Lordship Justice George Kingsley Kumsin is a man who believes in reconciliation. You know, Justice Kumsin, if you know him a bit, he believes in using the law to solve problems. It's not fighting. He doesn't encourage fight. You are fighting this one. He believes in using the law to solve problems. I'm guessing he will ask that, what is the damage done to the OSP's office if he has to go to the Attorney General on a case-by-case basis? If he's convinced that if that happens, that the OSP's office has lost its purpose, he might swing that way. So again, with him, I'm thinking that if he's on the panel, he probably will swing with the majority of the panel. Justice George Kumsin, he's had a beautiful recovery. Justice Enes Jehu, JSC, Justice Jehu was the one who gave the dissenting opinion when the fugitive came to Ghana, the Taylor guy. He gave the other opinion. What do you read into that? I think you read into that as a very independent mind, isn't it? So we are thinking that Justice Enes Jehu is going to be very independent. He wouldn't mind being the one in a 4-1 decision, and he wouldn't mind being the one in a 6-1 decision. That basis, I think he will look at the panel, he will be true to himself, and he will present an independent position on the matter. So we leave Justice Jehu for now. Justice Darko Asare, we are not so sure where he will swing. We have to wait and see a few more actions from him. Justice J. Frimpong is one of the new guys, very clever man. We cannot tell how he will swing. Justice Senyo Jamefe. I think viewers can all help me with this one because Justice Jamefe was the judge in the Elvis Ankra trial, if you can call it a trial, the World Cup. You remember that World Cup fiasco where money was sent on the plane under the first President Mahama administration. Justice Jamefe held it together. What do you think? I don't know. I think he's going to argue in favor of the OSP to remain. Justice, although this is Justice This is Justice Dennis Dominic Ajay. He is said to be very philosophical. I don't know him well, but all his students, people he has taught, and all the lawyers who work with him all say that he is very philosophical. I guess he will say that Article 88 should remain. If we want an OSP, we should create it in a better way. I guess that's what he's going to say. So we are all waiting. Justice Afisata Amaliboba is new. We don't know. We think that if she's on the panel, she probably will swing. But we are suspecting that the panel will be formed out of the older judges, those who have been on the Supreme Court for longer. So it's going to be, if it's 7, it's going to be Bafoboni, Gabriel Poaman, Amadou Tanko, Justice Mensa Bonsu, Yoni Kulende, 6 Lovelace, and 7. That's how we arrange it. We think that it's going to be those in front. But the Chief Justice has the power to empanel any Supreme Court judge. So we don't know what he's going to do. And the Chief Justice may or may not empower himself. So let's see how this is going to end. It's very interesting. We're going to keep an eye on that, and we're bringing it to you all the time. Let's see how it ends. Let's go to the social media people, and let's see what people are saying about this story. And then we continue the program. In the studio is Gideon Boako and Dr. Texan to talk about the Bank of Ghana. But first, let's see what's happening. Let's start with Fatih.
All right. Thank you, Paul. So coming from Same Boachi, he says based on what he's heard this evening, it's clear that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been rendered ineffective, and this move by the NDC appears to be an attempt to shield corruption. If I were in the Special Prosecutor's position, I'd consider resigning to maintain my integrity. Mahama comes, corruption comes. Mahama comes, Dunso comes. Here, there is hope for 2028. Regards to Dr. Bawumia and the next president of Ghana. General Eo comment says, if the Attorney General of Ghana is truly serious about fighting corruption, the focus wouldn't be on debating authorization. It would be on fully empowering the Office of the Special Prosecutor to act decisively. And even if the laws are weak, the priority should be pushing for amendments to strengthen the mandates, not hiding behind limitations. Ella.
All right. Social media for the youth of Ghana says, Oman Ghana, no one can challenge the law of this country. And Gabi says, the NDC is the problem of Ghanaian politics. The NDC party promotes insults and patronizes these acidic tongues into the NDC party. Else, who else is tailored to be given attention by any sensible person in Ghana? The NDC party has destroyed Ghanaian politics, and they shall pay heavily for it sooner than later in the upcoming elections. These are definitely not our views, but your views. Over to you, Anziba.
Thank you very much, Ella. Coming from Sumini, he says, the show is already on fire. I can't wait to listen to Dr. Gideon. As he says, I'm waiting for what Paul is going to say about my team Arsenal to the Champions League final. Okay, that will be it. Over to you, Paul.
North London forever. They were happy. Bukayo Saka's goal was a timely one. Arsenal are back in the Champions League grand finale after 20 years. Never mind that Arsenal have never won the Champions League. Arsenal have a big game on Saturday against West Ham United. We're all going to be there at the London Stadium to see how that goes. I think it's time for us to support Arsenal, isn't it? We at Manchester United, we have already won the league, haven't we? We won everything. We beat Arsenal, we beat Manchester City, we beat Liverpool, we beat Crystal Palace, we beat Tottenham, we beat everyone. So we are the champions. But congratulations to Arsenal tonight. North London forever. Whatever the weather. I think that was a good victory for us now. Okay, let's strike it out. There's something that's very concerning. We are not happy about it at all. And it's this story. Mining firm Goldfield says it remains committed to the Takwa mine and has applied for a 20-year lease extension. Chief Executive Mike Fraser, addressing the Apinto Divisional Stool at Ewudua in the Western region. Ghana contributed about 25% of the company's global output, largely from Takwa, until losing the Daman mine, adding that significant investments are planned for the mine and surrounding communities. I think it's time for us to get serious in this country. It's time for us to get serious in this country. This is going to be very controversial. I apologize before I start. Obroni has come to take our mine for 30 years. He's from South Africa. If you go to South Africa now and you go and set up an ice kinky joint and you get small rand, they'll come and kill you. They'll say, go to your country. South African mine has been here. We are not like that. We are not sucking anybody from our country. We don't do that in Ghana. We are nice people. South African mine has been mining at Tarkwa for 30 years. They paid $3 million. Yes, listen to it again. With Ghanaian lawyers. They have Ghanaian lawyers who are helping them to get another 20-year contract. Ghanaian lawyers, they are so unpatriotic. We should name and shame them. They are very bad people. They don't like Ghana. How can you take a mine for 30 years? You paid 1, 2, 3 million. You have finished with the 30 years. You are asking for another 20 years. When we have a Tarkwa School of Mine, when we have banks, maybe 30 years ago, we're not ready. Are we still going to say we're not ready today? Look at the teeming youth. Why can't Tarkwa School of Mines take it over and government handle it? Look at the price of gold on the international market. Even today, that is falling. What's the meaning of this? I was delighted about the comments when I read it. Are we serious in this country? Can you do this in Nigeria? Can you go to Nigeria and do this there? That's why Nigeria is where they are and we are where we are. Why? You have been mining for 30 years. Where is the gold? It's all gone. This South African company, Goldfields, is a good company. Since they came to Tarkwa, when they came to Tarkwa, they didn't own any mine anywhere in the world. Since they came to Tarkwa, they've now acquired, it's in the report, they say that Ghana contributed about 25% of the company's global output, largely from Tarkwa. Largely from Tarkwa. Ghana. When they say Ghana contributed, who in Ghana contributed and what benefits did we get? This is horrendous. It shouldn't happen. It should never happen. I was so happy that Ghanaians are really coming up alive. If you read, I'm going to show you the comments that some people passed. That, hey, stop there. Don't give any mind to them. And minister, I'll come to the minister in a minute. Let's look at some of the comments. Adam says that a whole 25% of your global output, but the local people whose land you are milking has nothing to show for it. Now you want 20 more years extension. Hell no, he says. Hell no is hell no. Look, Ama Kofi Boa, he should never ever go and give anybody another mine. He shouldn't do it. Ama Kofi Boa and President John Mahama, this is how you can save Ghana. If you people give this mine another 20 years for Obroni to continue mining. Why? Tarkwa School of Mines, they are there. Bank of Ghana is there. They can pay, they can put money behind Tarkwa School of Mines. All the young engineers in Tarkwa School of Mines who are learning mining, why can't they just take it? There's a school of mine in Tarkwa. Then there's a mine in Tarkwa. There's a school there that's training miners. Then there's a mine next to it. Then you give the mine to somebody from Johannesburg. Hey, Ghana, why? Are we okay? They're going to laugh at us in the whole world. You have President Kufuor, it was, once again, President Kufuor, it was. Oh, Mr. Producer, did you do the thing we were looking for? I hope you didn't forget. There's something small that I'll come to that. Please don't forget. President Kufuor is the one who set up Tarkwa School of Mine. Yeah. Now, there's Tarkwa School of Mine. There's a mine in Tarkwa. It has been handled for 30 years by a South African group of people. 30 years ago, I'm not sure whether Tarkwa School of Mine was there. It wasn't there. Now it's there. It's working. It's awarding its own degrees. It used to be a faculty under KNUST. It's now awarding its own degrees. Akufo-Addo renamed it Park Grants University, something like that. Then there's a mine next to it. Then there is a school. Give the mine to the school.
Metro TV. Insightful.
So you need money. So you go to the Bank of Ghana. You go to Ghana Commercial Bank. Borrow the money. When you put money in gold, you shouldn't lose. So what's the point? Why are we thinking about... Why is it even a conversation? The person's mine has finished. 30 years. Then he says, give me another 20 years. In 2026 Ghana. I mean, how is that possible? The guy says, they should not be extended beyond 2 years with clear exceptions and local content involvement. Local content should not be less than 50%. It's time we take back our economy. Treat it as a state of emergency. Government should take Tarkwa mines too. South Africa must go now. Government must not extend it for even 1 day. They should go. This is from Stevenson Zia. It says they should go. No extension. The black man is capable of managing their own affairs. It's time for us to take control of our resources. Then another one here, Honorable Ayariga, I don't know whether it's the one we know. It says never. Then Baba Kofi says, I'm even getting angry listening to him. You gain 25% from the country, yet you are carrying out the mining with no real investment. If you are interested in keeping mines, you should have developed the area a little bit to tie the people to your favor. The maximum we should do at this moment is 5 years, and after that, you pack out. If not, 60 to 70% ownership with Ghanaians is what we should seek, nothing less. Then there is Nana Tabri who says, John Dramani, give them 12 months to pack out. And then 5 years is too much. There's a guy responding to the Babako. 5 years is too much. 2 years is enough. See what he's saying. They are not going to give up on Takwa as if the land belongs to them. Yes, how can he even talk like that? They are not going to give up on Takwa. Kingsley Corbena says, what has Goldfields done for Takwa to develop? Nothing, zero. A whole 25% of your global output, but the local people whose land you are milking has nothing to show for it. Now you want 20 years extension? Hell no. They should not even be given 2 years. This is Suleiman Ayuba says, what impact have they made on the communities that they are mining? And then Kwao says, they've been operating for how many years now? What significant progress have they brought to the surrounding communities? Thomas Frimpong says, this lease should not be extended. Let's form a local mining consortium comprising of the Ghanaian mining firms, at least the best 20. Government can own 30% and the firms can take the rest. We can do it. But when I saw the story, I said, wow, this is very serious. I sincerely hope that it's not going to happen. And let's have Amako Fibua and President Mohammed's photograph again. Let me appeal to them. Honorable Minister of Lands, distinguished His Excellency the President, it is in the two of your hands. Whether you save the Ghanaian or you give it to the white people is in your hands. You have the power. You have been voted for. Remember, you have been elected by the people of Ghana to safeguard the interest of Ghana. This can never safeguard the interest of Ghana if you are going to succumb to the South Africans asking for a 20-year more lease and you are going to give it to them. You can't do that. Find another way. There are many ways that this can be found. If you call, even the two men who are in my studio today, Dr. Gideon Boako and Professor Ebo Texan, if you ask both of them to sit down and bring up a plan for Takwa, they will be able to do it. It's not complicated. They will be able to do it. Why are we doing that to ourselves? Everything is gone abroad. Everything. Then the South Africa. We all saw what happened in Johannesburg last week and last 2 weeks. They were chanting, go back to your country. Go and fix your country. Go back to your country. Now, they have forgotten that some of the wealth in South Africa, it came from Ghana. It is the mining of gold. Anglo Gold Ashanti, it's a Ghanaian company. Goldfields Ghana Limited, it's a South African company. Goldfields Ghana Limited, it's a South African company. They mine the gold, and the guy is telling us that 25% of their global output has come from one single mine in Ghana, Takwa. They had two mines, they had Daman, they had Takwa. Why are we doing that? And then South Africans will tell us that, go back to your country, go back to your country. We don't like that. They shouldn't be doing that. We will not sack them to go. But if you have had a mine for 30 years, it's okay. You can't have it. You paid $1, $2, $3 million. 1, 2, 3 for 30 years to mine gold. The price of gold over the last 30 years has been fluctuating. The last 2 years has received phenomenal pricing. 9 years ago, gold had high rise pricing. They benefited from all of that. How much did they pay the government of Ghana? It depends on the contract that they signed. What contract did they sign? Most likely, contract that is lopsided in their favor. We always sign contracts lopsided in our favor because we don't present our best foot forward. We have people who don't understand what they are doing. We have people who don't want to help Ghana, and then they become important. They are minister for this, chief director, this, that big man, this big man, that. They have no interest for the country. They go and they sell everything out, and the young people don't have no jobs to do. The young people have no jobs to do. We shall not allow this to happen. Nobody, no media house should allow this to happen. No influential Ghanaian. Everybody must send a text to the president. If you don't have his number, ask his friends. They'll give you his number. Everybody must send a text to the president that Mr. John Dramani Mahama, you cannot do this. You shouldn't do this. We won't allow you to do this. If you do that, all those young people who voted for NDC, don't vote for NDC again. If you like, don't vote for NPP too. Just stay at home. If President Mahama gives this mine to South Africans for another 20 years, never vote again. Don't vote. Why are you voting? Why? You vote for somebody, he comes and he takes what is something that can happen, something that is substantial, some inheritance that is great. He takes and gives it to a white man because the white man will give him tea and coffee and biscuit and meat pie. Is that what's about? Tea, coffee, biscuit, and meat pie. That's all. The white man comes and he shares these things for us. Many years ago, they brought a mirror. They showed a mirror to our ancestors. They say, hey, mirror, hey, that's what they were doing. That's what the ancestors were doing. And then they gave out Valuable things. Anyway, I'm being signaled to go on. No way to that mine out of the question. Did I say that mine? To Takwa. No way to Takwa. You cannot give that mine to the people of South Africa again. There has to be an arrangement where Ghanaians are participating. Professor Buzia, many years ago, said that we must have the economy in the commanding heights of Ghanaians. He said, we are not going anywhere until the commanding heights of the economy is in the hands of Ghanaians themselves. Achampong came and reiterated that position. Today, how many years later? More than 50 years on, and we are going to present one of our important mines to at least extend to Goldfields Ghana Limited. No way, no way, no way, no way. Okay. The Attorney General is back on our matter. He was our first story. He's back on our matter. Things are happening in Ghana. Now, let me tell the Attorney General that I found the directors of Cassius Mining, those people that are asking you for a lot of money, those your clients that are asking you for a lot of money. Thursday, I have a documentary on the directors of Cassius Mining and what kind of conversations they'll be having with you. Leonard Attenja, I'm coming there. And then also, I'm going to tell you something. This is not part of the story, though, so I'm going to tell you something. The job that you have given to Raymond Atuguba, we're going to interrogate it. Because when Godfrey Dame was there, he was not giving arbitration jobs to Ghanaians to pay money to other lawyers so that he pays them. The Attorney General's office was handling arbitration themselves. Godfrey Dame handled arbitration in Paris, he handled arbitration in London. They handled it themselves. You have come and you are paying substantial amount of money to your friends that they handle it. We think there may be corruption to smell there. We will report it to the OSP. Please, don't do that. Desist from that. Attorney General, we love you. Stay where you are. Now, let's get to the story. We were all in this country, isn't it? Okay, this is Attorney General Dominic Ayeni. This is Deputy Attorney General Serem Sai. This is Hanan and his wife, yeah? This is Deputy Attorney General. Now, this is a story. The Deputy Attorney General Justice Serem Sai has withdrawn charges against former Chief Executive Officer of National Buffer Stock Company Limited, Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba, and his wife, Faiza Seidu Wuni. They've withdrawn the charges. Serem Sai has withdrawn the charges against Hanan. You see, we have to take politics out of some of these things and just talk about competence. It's competence. It's not politics, it's not NDC-MPP, it's competence. When Dominic Ayeni started his Nobel press conferences, that had never happened. That was frowned upon by senior members of the Ghana Bar Association, frowned upon by senior jurists at the bench, frowned upon by international experts who looked at Ghana and the new legal system and the jurisprudence of our country. He did something that is an affront to the jurisprudence of the history of Ghana. An Attorney General comes to do press conferences and calls people names. He calls them thieves. He calls them this. He calls them that. Everybody spoke against it. Dominic Ayeni will not renege. He continued to do it. He continued to hold press conferences. Now he has stopped. But today I'm going to show you why we were concerned that this press conferences, this purported criminalization and media trial was very unbecoming of an Attorney General who is leader of the bar, appointed under Article 88, who is the government's principal legal advisor. An Attorney General should not be doing that. We said it, we said it, we said it. Today you are going to see. This is Dominic Ayeni, who comes out to hold a press conference about Hanan. Oh, he has stolen this, he has stolen that. We have done our painstaking investigations. After 1 year, he's challenged in court. Now, they're not telling us the truth. The reason why they are withdrawing is not because they have found anything. Serem Sai's Facebook post, which I'll read to you, it's not true. The reason why they are withdrawing is that they were smuggling in evidence. After 1 year of presenting all their evidence, during the management of the case, they realized that the evidence that they have presented is all water. As Dom Levo said, garbage. They realized it when they were confronted at the court, not at the press conference, at the court, where they are a lawyer, their defense is a lawyer, everybody there is a lawyer, not press conference where you are doing a monologue, journalists ask you questions, you get away with it and you do your thing and you go away. No, this was in the room of court. Lawyers were there and they were pointing out to them that, but this is your evidence. What are you talking about? Is that how, what do you mean? Then they found out that, hey, Charlie, we're in trouble. So bring some new evidence. They brought and they say, hey, you can't smuggle evidence in. You know the procedure. The court said, no, Attorney General, you can't bring. So they were not allowed to add any more evidence they have smuggled in. And as a result of that, they could tell that this whole case, the whole charade, is going to collapse on their head. First, let's go and listen to Dominic Ayine about what he said, the kind of evidence he claimed that he had gathered about the Hanan case, the extent of the evidence of what he said he found against Hanan, and was so confident going to court. The confidence has now completely evaporated, and he's running away. He's letting the Deputy Attorney General come and do a Facebook post. Dominic Ayine now cannot face the camera. He's hiding behind Facebook posts. He should come and talk. He should do a press conference again and explain to the journalists why he has withdrawn the Hanan case. He's run away. Well, they say there's some reshuffle coming. People say that he'll be reshuffled. I hope he's not reshuffled. Me, I like him. But people say he's going to be reshuffled. This is it. He's running away from the case that he's fighting into Facebook posts. Listen to the press conference and listen to what he said about the case that he has now dropped. Listen.
I keep saying that it is important that we we do painstaking investigations, because without the painstaking investigations that were done quietly, we started this in February. In February 2025, this investigation started in February 2025, and it is now that we have the results. I was never an incompetent lawyer in private practice. I don't want to be an incompetent lawyer in public service. So I want us to take our time to do the kind of work that I'm announcing today. So on account of the foregoing, we have decided to charge Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab and his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, with stealing, conspiracy to steal, causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, obtaining public property by false statements, and money laundering. The charges will be filed on Friday, and I have the charge sheet, the draft charge sheet, which I am reviewing here for everybody to see, so that nobody goes to say that I have indicted somebody and I don't have charges. I have my charges ready.
The charges have collapsed. Dominic Ayine's charges have completely collapsed. The same thing he showed to the media, it has collapsed in the face of court. That's what we were telling him. Wait and go to court. This media trial won't take you anywhere. Look at this headline from City FM. Ex-NAFCO boss case. High Court strikes out prosecution's witness statement. The High Court has stricken out the prosecution witness, their statement. This is the Dominic Ayine, the thing he says, I have my charge. You can show it to the media all you want and say, I have my charges, and brag and boast. The High Court will show you your level. The High Court has showed him his level. All the things he came to say about Hanan, he has been told that it is hogwash. It is nothing. It's garbage. It is baseless. And he can't admit it. He's running away behind Facebook posts. Let us elevate the standard of our public officials. Let us have high-profile, quality public officials, not those who are interested in camera and just come and brag in camera before journalists who are not their peers. Going to the court. That's where your peers are. When you went into the court, the High Court has stricken it out. That is what has happened to them. The embarrassed double Attorney General, Dominic Ayine and Srebsa, they've been disgraced. Why have they been disgraced? Attorney Generals lose cases all the time. And I saw Samson Ladi's post. That's not the point. The point is not about Attorney General withdrawing or Attorney General's case being struck out or Attorney General saying that I'm withdrawing the charges. The point is the prelude. What they did before they went to court. Telling Ghanaians that somebody is a thief. Telling Ghanaians that somebody has stolen. Do Attorney Generals do that? As civil society, you were watching. You didn't do anything about it. Nobody complained that Dominic Ayine is doing media trial. You were happy. Civil society, you were happy. Now you are in court, in the Supreme Court against him. But this is the thing we talk about. Don't see things as political. It's not everything that's political. When somebody is doing something manifestly wrong, it is wrong. If it's Akufo-Addo doing it, it is wrong. If John Mahama does it, wrong. You people were enjoying election victory buzz. Election victory. Oh, we have overthrown MPP. And you were enjoying it. So the critical things that were destroying the fabric of the jurisprudence of Ghana, you said nothing about it. Civil society, zero. You didn't say anything about it. An attorney general comes press conference after press conference after press conference, calling people thieves. He, attorney general, when he was being investigated for Ameri, and he said that people had come to his house to come and seize his laptop early in the morning. We all complained that the attorney general of the day, Gloria Kufu, mount a platform and say Dominic Ayine has stolen money from Ameri. Did she do that? Then you become attorney general. You are calling people thieves every day. You are holding press conference, bragging. You bragged into the High Court. The High Court puts you flat on the canvas. This is what happened. Now, Franklin Cudjoe, let me wait. I'll come to Franklin Cudjoe at the end. Let me look for something else. This is Justice Sremsai, his Facebook post. Listen to what he says. He says, following the discovery of fresh evidence, we, the Attorney General's office, have a while ago withdrawn from the prosecution of all the accused persons in the case of the Republic versus Hanan Abdul, Wahab, Aludiba, and 4 others. This is to afford each accused person a fair trial and a more speedy trial in accordance with the Constitution. What language is that? What's he talking about? He's lying. What's he talking about? What is he talking about? What is the meaning of this is to afford each accused person a fair? So before you were not affording them a fair trial. Justice Sremsai, Deputy Attorney General, can write this. Deputy Attorney General. You are telling us that you are withdrawing the case to give people a fair trial. Are you confessing that before you were not giving them a fair trial? What's the point that he's making here? He says this is to afford each of the accused persons a fair trial. A fair and a more speedy trial. Fair. I thought fair was to be taken for granted. I thought fair is a part of the natural process. When you are prosecuting somebody, you have an obligation to be fair to the person. I thought we all know that. Sremsai is telling us that, oh, they were not fair to them. They are now going to be fair. Fair and speedy. What is he saying? He's just hiding behind the embarrassment. Embarrassing. Dominic Ayine came to hold a press conference and said, we have everything. We have everything. This is my... Please, show the Dominic Ayine press conference again. Show it again.
Keep saying that it is important that we take, we do painstaking investigations, because without the painstaking investigations that were done quietly, we started this in February. In February 2025, this investigation started in February 2025, and it is now that we have the results. I was never an incompetent lawyer in private practice. I don't want to be an incompetent lawyer in public service. So I want us to take our time to do the kind of work that I'm announcing today. So on account of the foregoing, we have decided to charge Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab and his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, with stealing, conspiracy to steal, causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, obtaining public property by false statements, and money laundering. The charges will be filed on Friday, and I have the charge sheet, the draft charge sheet, which I am reviewing here for everybody to see, so that nobody goes to say that I have indicted somebody and I don't have charges. I have my charges ready.
The charges failed. We know that. They are going to file new charges. In fact, what is happening tonight is that they have rearrested Hanan. Nobody knows where he is. His lawyers don't know where he is. They've taken him somewhere. This intimidation tactics, you are failing at the court, then you are intimidating the people using government power. You think you have government power forever. Keep it. Keep it. You think you have... Otunfo told you last week, you didn't hear, that you won't have government power forever. You have 2 years to go. Keep it. And use it anyhow. It will go to another person's hands. And we pray that he will use it better and will be better and better and better and better. We'll forget about you. We will banish you to the oblivion of history, because the things you did were an anathema to the growth of Ghanaian society. We'll never remember you again. Keep it. Keep the power. Take it and use it anyhow. Come and be doing press conferences and finish, go to court, fail, then go and arrest the person and put him behind bars. Don't tell his lawyers don't know where he is. Because you have gone to court and you've been defeated, you are embarrassed, so this is what you do. Do it. Franklin Cudjoe says, I initially believed the case against the Buffer Stock CEO and his wife was watertight. based on the narrative we heard. He's just being charitable based on what the Attorney General said at the press conference. It is based on that. That is the narrative we heard. He says, I understand that the Attorney General has every right to withdraw the case and file fresh charges against the accused. However, after nearly a year of the charges remaining active in court, there must be a very significant discovery of new evidence to justify keeping the accused on what feels like a legal merry-go-round. This situation does no good for oral. We need to hear from the Attorney General. Additionally, the accused should not be held unduly by EOCO, as they have, by and large, conducted themselves with composure and propriety. Thank you, Franklin Cudjoe. We need to hear from the Attorney General. But Franklin, I'll disappoint you. You're not going to hear from him. He's going to hide behind Facebook post and say that he's now going to do a fair trial. He's going to use Size Facebook page to say he's now going to do a fair trial. When you see our documentary on the Acacia's mine, you run away. Don't worry, that's coming. We'll deal with it. We will not allow anybody to steal money from this country. We won't allow it. President Mahama will not allow it. We too will not allow it. Don't worry, Franklin, you'll be disappointed though. No Attorney General is going to come and do anything. He's not going to tell you anything. They are on the canvas. They're falling flat. What do you want them to come and do? They're not coming to do anything. My brother, relax. It's your mash kinky, and then let's move on. Arsenal won, by the way, so enjoy that one. That's this Charlie. Yeah, this country. Anyway. Another matter that is worrying me, Madam Vice President, Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman. Oh, you have to take this picture off. Let me start again. Professor, yes, Madam Vice President, Her Excellency, Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman, says there's something they are letting her do that is really worrying me, viewers. It's worrying me. I'm so sad. I think that there's a desperation to show her on camera. And there's a desperation to show that she is doing something. So the trend these days is that the news will pick a story and say, Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman is going to visit somebody. I've never seen this in the Fourth Republic. I've covered everything in the Fourth Republic. I've never seen this before. I've covered all the vice presidents. I've never seen this before. A vice president moves from the office of the president where she stays, and then she's going to visit minister and goes to sit in a minister's conference room and say, give me what? She went to visit Minister for Roads. The next week, Fourth Estate issued a statement that Minister for Roads is up to some serious breaches of procurement law. She didn't see that one. She didn't see that some of the companies that had been awarded Big Push had 1 employee and 2 employees from their Senate documents. She didn't see that one. So what's the purpose of her visit? Check this. Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman has toured the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, reaffirming President Mohammed's commitment to expanding treatment and interventions for non-communicable diseases under the Mahama Care Initiative, including strengthening digital systems and the rollout of specialized cardiology centers nationwide. This is the visit. This is a photograph of the visit. She took her staff out of the Jubilee House. I'll show you the cars that they were riding in. She asked the Minister for Health to leave the Health Ministry and come. This is Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, her staff. This is Alex Segbefia, who is her staff. This is the CEO of the Mahama Care Trust, Obobia. And Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman went there to go and listen to, I don't know what it is. I don't know how she can summon Obobia to come to the Jubilee House and explain to her anything she needs to understand, that she has to physically go there. And she's going to places and nothing happens when she goes. The information that she got when she went there, she can't be told. She's wasting taxpayers' money. I'll show you that she spends more money doing that. This is 16 January. Vice President Jenana Opoku-Agyeman arrives at the Transport Ministry to hold crucial discussions with the sector minister to find ways of tackling the transport crisis. And that meeting must be held at the minister's place. And the vice president, who is a high-profile person, moves with a lot of security, and they all have to move, spend your petrol, my petrol, and your petrol. They spend. You see, public officials don't look after themselves. So they have to exercise a lot of prudence in how they move about, how they travel, how they do all that, because they do not look after themselves. They don't buy their own travel tickets. They don't buy their own petrol. And that is fair. We understand. It is called the perquisites of their office. We understand it. The perquisites of their office, they can have it. But you can't misuse it. And I dare say that the vice president's consistent visiting to public officials is a misuse of the public fund. Complete misuse of it. How can't a vice president summon somebody to come to her office and talk, and then she's visiting people? What's the meaning of that? mean, why? Obey you, Ghana. So this is January 16. Let me show you another one. Vice President Professor Jenano Opoku-Agyeman visits Ministry of Youth and Development Empowerment to engage stakeholders on ongoing initiatives aimed at empowering Ghanaian youth. What is that? Then this one. Vice President Jenano Opoku-Agyeman arrives at Ministry of Works and Housing to continue her working visit, engaging leadership on infrastructure delivery, housing development, and policy coordination. What is this? Then this one, VIP Jenano Opoku-Agyeman meets Education Ministry. Big talks on reform and priorities. She went to meet Education Ministry. She couldn't resolve the problem between Haruna Iddrisu and the Get Fund boss. For the Get Fund boss to say that I do not report to Haruna Iddrisu, and there's so much tension between Ministry of Education and Ministry of Finance, and she goes to start education. She does nothing about the most important issue, which is a tension between the wallet of the government held by the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Education. So what's the visit for? I mean, I'm making 2 points. First, the visit is unnecessary. And two, it achieves nothing. It's just photograph opportunity. I understand that there's a desperation to have the vice president be seen to be doing something. Of course, behind her shadows is Dr. Bawumia, who was vice president to Akufo-Addo. Many people have said, many scholars have said, books have been written that in the Fourth Republic, Mahamudu Bawumia was the most effective vice president. I think she wants to compare with that. No problem, that's fine. She should think of an initiative. People say Bawumia was effective because he was able to create an initiative, which we are all doing. Interoperability. Today, I take my phone, I send mobile money, I'm MTN, I send to you, Tigo, it will go. Before Bawumia, it didn't go. All the many aspects of digitalization. ECG. Look at how ECG has been digitalized so that you can sit in your house and buy your ECG meter. That's Bawumia's initiative. Did Bawumia visit Minister for Communication, Minister for Physics, Minister for this, before he was able to achieve that? No, he sat in his office with his team. They planned it. They worked on it day and night. And then it became reality. And we are all enjoying it. If they want the vice president to do something like that, she's a professor. She's an intelligent woman. She can create something. But why are they sending her that, madam, come and let's go. Come and let's go. So what are we doing today? Vice President's office. Good morning. Madam, what are we doing today? Oh, today we are going to Ministry of Roads. From there, we'll go to Mahama Care Fund. And then from there, we'll also visit the Ministry of Education. That's the Vice President's schedule, visiting ministries that she can summon to her office. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why? Well, Vice President visits Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. She went there too. Okay, so this is the story. Viewers, have a look at this. Can you show it to them on the screen? Then you can see. Yeah. So that to the left is the Jubilee House where the Vice President stays. Now, when she's moving, this is the number of cars that will move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Petrol. Big cars, not small cars, not small engine cars, big diesel consuming energies. This is what they are doing. Why does she have to do that? Why does she have to spend taxpayers' money, push petrol in all this, and be moving around Accra, disturbing everybody? You are going for one meeting. In Accra these days, you cannot hold 2 meetings a day. When I started working, you can hold 4 meetings a day. Today, you can't hold 2 meetings because when you pass here, all the ministers are in motorcade. And then the vice president comes to add. He's going to visit. He's visiting and blocking traffic, disturbing everybody. What's the point? And at the end of the visit, nothing comes out of anything. Nothing. She went to Ministry of Roads. The next day, 4 Thursday say, hey, there's 73 billion corruption. Go and look at it. She didn't see it. She should have found out. She should have asked Kwame Agbodza, listen, your companies for big push that are Ghanaian, can you give me a profile of them? Then tell her, Alessandra, check the profile of all these companies and let us know. Then Alessandra comes and says, madam, Charlie, some of the companies, then she'll call Kwame Agbodza. Some of these your companies, it doesn't work. If this information comes out, Joy FM are going to attack us for nothing. City FM will attack us for nothing. Newsfile, we'll be talking about it. She didn't do that. She just went to sit down and visit, drink water and have a conversation. And they say she went to visit. And then look at the amount of taxpayers' money that went in. You know, I mean, as for me, I'm a nobody. I'm just saying it may not get anywhere. But I'm just sharing with you, viewers. Is that how we want our country to be run? Is that how we want we are the nobodies who are out of power. But is that how we want our country to be run? Is that what we used to see? This is how we want our country to be run? That the vice president will fuel all her cars and drive out of Jubilee House and be driving, visiting here, achieving zero. Why? This is the situation. Final one. All of these ministries that she visited, they all report into the chief of staff. What is wrong with they coming to the office of the president with one vehicle? from the Ministry of Roads, Kwame Abuja. He'll drive Ministry of Roads past National Theatre, go straight, he'll get to TV3, turn down there, go straight. Those of you who live in Accra, you know the route I'm talking about. And then he comes to Kanda, and then he'll go to Jubilee House and say, Madam, I'm here, sir. Hey, Kwame Abuja, come inside. Alex, you guys come, let's deal with Kwame. Hey, Kwame, what's going on with the roads? And you settle it. Or you put your team together. Let's develop something for Ghana. How many cars use the Ghana road every day? We don't even know that. In Ghana, we are very low on statistics. We don't know how many cars use our roads every day. We don't know. The road, those of you live in Accra, the road from Medina to Accra Central, how many cars pass on it every day? We don't know. How many cars gather at the 37 station? We don't know. How many cars are in KJTia? We don't know. How many cars are driving on the Asokwa Road? We don't know. How many cars actually move from Accra to Kumasi? We actually don't know. That's so embarrassing. The vice president can take this up and build the data for transport. That look, let's find a company that will give us the full data. When I used to work in London, they will tell you that 3 million people use the underground every morning. 3 million. They know. They actually know. How do they know? They count. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8. So they can plan. It is about planning. You have to know the numbers using the facility so that you can plan. That is a job lying down. She can pick it up. Now, what is this going to visit? Oh, please. Madam Vice President, I'm sorry. I beg you. I really love you. But this one is a no. No. You are the first woman Vice President. We are all proud of you. You are a professor for me. When you became Vice Chancellor at KVAS, I didn't know you. I'd never heard of you. I jumped. That, hey, a woman has become Vice Chancellor. I was so excited. And then I was told that you were the one who interviewed Rawlings in 1997 on Radio Gold. The first ever interview Rawlings granted. It was you who interviewed her on Radio Gold. I was told when I was celebrating the professor who has become Vice Chancellor at KNU, at KVAS, I was told that, oh, but she's the lady who interviewed Rawlings. I was very happy. When you were doing the IEA debate, I watched you, and I liked your posturing. When you became Minister of Education, you and I fought a little bit over using Tree language to do all that. But I love you dearly, madam. They are letting you do the wrong thing. Please, madam, I beg you, create something. You have 2 years to go. Create something. I can't say you have 2 years to go. You might be retained as Vice President by the next NDC presidential candidate. I will encourage him to do so because you are great. But they have to get you to do something more serious, madam. I salute you, madam. Have a good night. What's the time? Oh, it's 10:28. I have to leave it. I was going to do Bawe and the regional minister. We'll do. No, we can't. We have to move on. Please bring our guest in. Next on the agenda, we have Ebo Texan and Gideon Boakon. So let's take a short break. And they are coming in right now.
Mommy, good morning.
Oh, good morning, my son. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mom. How about you?
I'm fine.
So, I just saw your mom doing her usual morning routine. Like, it was just 2 weeks she underwent a major colon surgery.
Bro, see, my mom is doing perfectly fine. And we're all excited about it. It was minimally invasive surgery. And the recovery has been very fast.
Minimally? Hey! No, wait. What do you mean by that?
So they offered my mom a laparoscopic colon surgery. Laparoscopic colon surgery, which we accepted. It turned out it was equally safe with a very fast recovery time, and the cost involved too was very, very reasonable. She was discharged 3 days after the surgery, and you can see her, she's on her feet again.
3 days?
Just 3 days, bro.
Mean Tuber Hospital, first Ghana colorectal center, aimed to serve a peculiar health need.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy, specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. M&C Properties.
My line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, who be here, Samacha Sapapadia to a mammy manful. Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so buying, and maniswing, Nesansu Mama Hotoso, a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.
Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Looking for the ultimate oil city getaway? Welcome to the Groove Ethipon Beach Resort, where luxury meets adventure. Host your meetings and events in our fully equipped conference facility. Relax our sparkling pool, unwind in cozy rooms, satisfy your cravings at our scenic restaurant, and enjoy fun-packed recreational activities and a walk through our charming menus. Whether it's business, pleasure, or pure escape, the Groove is your perfect destination.
It's me, Azar.
Hey, me now they see. Hey, you don't look fresh. Hey,
hey.
With your label today, me.
Wait till you see what's inside me.
Azar, freshly made inside and out for greater coverage and colors that last longer and beautify your walls, spaces, and places. Azar, no size. Go ahead. Buy now. Azar, #1 from Azar Group since 1921.
It's time to believe in you. We are changing, so should you. If you're dreaming, don't be afraid. And in the valleys, keep your head up high. Dare to dream with Puma drinks. Puma, yeah. Believe it, you can achieve. Puma. Oh yeah, clap your hands for the whole new vibe. Make we set the bliss. Oh yeah, come alive. Let me hear you.
Puma Drinks, a whole new vibe. Another quality product from Casa Precon.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Looking for comfort, convenience, and class all in one place? Welcome to Stay Easy Apartments on Conference Center, where modern living meets exceptional service. Whether you're staying for business or leisure, Stay Easy offers you a home away from home. Spacious and well-furnished apartments, pool, gym, and everything you need to relax and feel at ease. Planning a meeting, workshop, or special event? Our event ground and state-of-the-art conference center is designed to host host your events and bring your vision to life. From corporate gatherings to private functions, we provide the perfect space, supported by modern equipment and a professional team ready to assist you. At Stay Easy, your comfort and success are our priority. Book your stay or reserve your space today. Call us at 020-739-1473 or 0244-226367. Stay Easy Apartments and Conference Center. Stay easy with us.
Can he tee up someone in red? And it goes to one.
Too much, sir! That's who goes for.
I got 5 Champions League.
You want to know? I be the real goat, chairman. I be the real goat. The left magician. The left magician.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
No, that shift. You two they lie, eh? Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
Are you busy? Forget everybody. Yeah, my guy. Put your papa in the jar. Put some respect on the goat. On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama. Every year we dey give to you back to back. We are talking about BET. I want some Yadiaji face. Except be the goat, huh? My guy, he be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18, nor recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
A revolution is brewing in waste management, an innovation rooted in the spirit of Pan-Africanism. This innovation generates sustainable jobs, boosts income, improves sanitation, and elevates the Human Development Index. To unlock its full potentials, we invite you to support through financial contribution or in-kind donations. Join us at the Green Go Hub launch and fundraising event on Thursday, 7th May 2026 at the Manfi Hall, Gimpa Green Hill campus, starting exactly 10 a.m. For sponsorship and partnership opportunities, visit us on www.greengohub.com.
Your bottle and unleash the taste of Storm Energy Drink. A bold flavor, a big attitude, feel the vibe, own the moment. It's your time to be different. Storm Energy Drink, make your mark.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health, not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Looking for the ultimate oil city getaway? Welcome to the Groove Ethipon Beach Resort, where luxury meets adventure. Host your meetings and events in our fully equipped conference facility. Relax our sparkling pool, unwind in cozy rooms, satisfy your cravings at our scenic restaurant, and enjoy fun-packed recreational activities and a walk through our charming menus. Whether it's business, pleasure, or pure escape, the Groove is your perfect destination.
Mesemoma Kofo on TV, so national television. No one can say I started this and I completed this before I left office. A bini Ghana history mu. I no more da mo do mu huna mo. Ode wonya mobo, unim sika Kofo te so. Unim sika ne nana no te so. Unim sika we leading Kofo mo wia. Oye lazy, 99 person be nante. We oye bronia anka beba na obo tennis Kofo ni age awedu no oye bronia anka no pebia so jogi. He is just lazy. He doesn't want to walk because obenya kwase bia piano
He's just lazy. He's not disabled. Mama fani question disabled category. On betina TV so no kan kire ye say. Juma de we na me starting na me yi me nsafri ho bibia ni wo kofotumi wie. Not a single thing.
Na me copy bibi so. O man no nyama bi o ha onfi onka ho asem enye na asem. Me amenia Kuma Kevin. E catch President Kufuor say o ye lazy nti na o te wheelchair mu no person obesora na nti no. Kevin. I think say you need to apologize to the old boy. Ma kana boko. Ese say we apologize to the old boy because anya hwe kura no yare ye fan srinipa. What you say? Anya hwe kura no yare ye fan srinipa. Ye to so bi o ne say Defense Ministry dina esi ho no. Ni nua keto Defense Minister of Ghana and our chassis no we the Defense Ministry na si hono ye won na chassis no we Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Center na si hono enye Kofi Annan de si ye ne kapre Peacekeeping Center na si hono Adokufo Defense Minister and the Jekofo as president na say Japade kakraka na si hono e ba be si ho menka de aka no be ma wonan wa yehuri ntrafra kan bre o say ya
And welcome back to the show. This is Good Evening Ghana. Let me go to the text messages and answer by you first then.
Thank you very much. He says, Paul, it amazes me that a lawyer who holds a PhD in law could subject himself to such a national ridicule. Until he became Attorney General, I didn't know cases of national interest could be prosecuted in the media. It is an indictment to his profession as a lawyer. Eli Obama from Tamale says, good evening, Paul. The case involving Mr. Hanan and his wife appears to be a clear instance of political witch hunting, allegedly backed by the majority leader Ayariga, the member of parliament for Pusiga, Madam Ladi, and the Attorney General Dominic Ayini. As such, there is little chance of success in their pursuit, given the perceived lack of merit in the case. In the end, time would vindicate Hanan and his wife. Over to you, Ella.
Thank you, Anzaba. So this one is from Ibi Ofe. He says, as for the VIP, she's out of her depth being a VIP. The NDC is the only party that can take a fine professor and morph her into a pupil teacher. Kobe Michael says, you have really spoken my mind today. Ghana really directs you on this program. God really directs you on this program. I was just thinking of what you can really discuss that will touch my heart since I've started watching your show for all these years. Thank you very much for speaking the mind of all Guardians. Lastly, from Nicholas, he says, good evening, Paul. This is what happens when you follow a visionless leader like John Mahama, who can only change and rename existing policies and programs. What do you have for us, Fatih?
All right, thank you, Ella. So Ali Obama comes back to say you miscalculated the reasons why the vice president is touring around ministries. The next NDC flag bearer position is the reason why she's trying to be seen active, healthy, and workaholic. Remember, many of the people in the party thinks she's not well and can't be elected to lead the NDC into the 2028 elections. So she's doing all that to prove to people that she should be selected to lead the NDC. General EL comment says, someone should tell the AG when your witness statement is weak, your premature media prosecution will expose your incompetence. And lastly, coming from Garibai says, how can President Mahama appointees initiate a move to weaken the powers of the OSP without the knowledge of the president? President Mahama should stop the pretense and sack those of his appointees who took the steps to either sack the OSP or take his powers from him. Mahama should come clean in the OSP case because some of us believe that Mahama is aware of the initiative and to take the powers of the OSP. Now back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to the show. Now we have a big discussion. Professor Ebo Texan of the University of Ghana is here with us, and so is the Dr. Gideon Boako, Member of Parliament for Tano South. Tano North. Okay, Tano North. Gideon Boako is also an economic expert. He used to teach at the KNUST postgraduate program. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the show. Professor Texan, tell us first, what should we make of the Bank of Ghana's annual report? It was said to have been coming since March, and there was a lot of speculation about it. Gideon will post on his Facebook page asking, when is the report coming? Kojo Ponkuma will post and say, when is the report coming? Finally, it did come, and the conversation has started. What should we make of it?
Okay, thank you, Paul, and good evening to your viewers. So I'm not here to speak for the central bank. I'm speaking as somebody from academia, and then possibly because I'm also a member of the MPC,
the Monetary Policy
Committee. So I have some insight into the decisions that we made as far back as 2022 when we had a height of the crisis. I've said time and again that economic policy, especially monetary policy, is a public good. And like every public good, it comes with a cost. And but normally when you want to assess a central bank for the mandate for which it is set up, you look at the policy objectives and whether the central bank has met those objectives. That is the mandate of the central bank. So as much as the financials will show a loss, the question is that what was the public good from that activity? You will see that right from 2022 when Ghana began to go through crisis and inflation hit almost 54%. The central bank's core mandate is to maintain price stability, and so the central bank is supposed to devise all the tools it has available to try as much as possible to bring down inflation. And so in 2022, at the height of the crisis, the central bank made very good decisions, employed all the monetary policy tools that were available, and the most preferred one has always been the open market operations. You go onto the market, especially in the banking system, to mop up the excess liquidity. And when you do these things, it comes with a cost, because when you take the monies from the bank, you need to compensate them for keeping that money. But your focus is to fight inflation, and therefore, normally the interest cost is expected from that policy choice. And so the central bank has had to pay a high price for picking up that excess liquidity in the system. And so over the years, we've seen the central bank pay huge interest, and especially for us, because at that time inflation was high, and you know the compensation for the taking away the money from the banks is almost close to the monetary policy rates. That's a compensation, and therefore, at that time when we were trying to fight inflation, the policy rate was high. It meant that it was going to translate into a much higher cost. And we've had this discussion in 2023, 2024, and up to now. And so the interest cost has been a major component of that.
Interest cost of what?
Of the open market operations.
Open market operations?
Yes, open market operations are the central bank sells, it's what we call the Bank of Ghana bills to the banks.
Gives money to the banks?
No, it gives them bills.
What's in the bill?
So a bill is an instrument.
Okay.
And then
so
it takes,
a promise?
Yes, it takes the money from them. Because when the money...
What is he promising when he takes the money from them?
Interest. You pay interest on what the
money...
money...
So give me 100 million of your money.
Yes.
So you don't have it. But when I'm paying back, I'll pay you 110.
The interest. There's an interest at the monetary policy.
Agreed interest.
Yeah, I mean, at the monetary policy, the banks are aware. That is the normal framework for doing that.
So you are building up to how the reports came out.
Yeah,
the
loss.
Content of the report.
Precisely, the loss, yeah. Right. So that operation by the central bank always comes with a cost. And it is every central bank goes through that cost. I mean, it's... and so that was one of the major costs that we've seen.
So that's a policy cost.
It's a policy cost. All the discussions
you
I'm
are
saying...
engaging and incurring cost because you are on a policy to mop up excess liquidity.
Precisely, to fight inflation.
All right, so that you fight inflation.
Precisely.
So that prices don't run amok.
Precisely, because inflation is the most... How do I put it? Inflation is an umbrella, in the sense that it takes away our purchasing power, right from the president to the lame person on the street. Unlike the conventional mobile,
it reduces the amount of things your money can buy.
Precisely.
Okay.
And it transmits a lot of instability into the economy.
Clearly, yeah.
And therefore, it makes it difficult for investors to even plan, or businesses to plan for investment to bring their money.
So the central bank's principal role is to manage inflation.
Yes, price stability. And he uses the tools that he has available to manage that process. And so and you remember in that first year of the fight against inflation, inflation dropped by almost half as a result of these tools that were being used. Now, in 2025, if you look at the financial statement, I'm not speaking on the finance, I'm looking at the economic aspect and the greater good of what the balance sheet of the central bank and its income statement is saying in 2025. If you look at 2025 and the amount of losses the central bank has made, the central bank has become a victim of its own performance. A victim of its own performance. What do I mean by that? Now, when you have assets in foreign currency, foreign assets, and your domestic currency appreciates, right? The assets in your books have to be valued in your domestic currency. And when your domestic currency appreciates, the cedi value of those assets will have to be reduced. I'll give you an instance. Suppose you hold a foreign asset of $1 billion.
You own it, it's yours.
You own it, so it's part of your assets. And the exchange rate was 14 cedis. It meant that it translates to 14 billion cedis on your books. Now, when the currency appreciates to 10, that 14 billion becomes 10 billion. So without losing the 1 billion worth of the asset, the cedi valuation, excuse me, has dropped by 4 billion. That is a loss to the central bank. And so when I say the central bank is a victim of its own good performance, the stability of the cedi also brought in itself revaluation losses to the central bank. But Paul, excuse me, sorry to your voice. I mean, if you look at what happened in 25 with the appreciation of the cedi, don't forget that cumulatively at the height of the crisis, right from 2022 to 2024 December, our cedi had lost value by over 70%. And at that time when we were managing the process, the stability of the...
Let me hold it. Please get a video. Let's play that video again, the one that we played before we came. By the time we come, we got water for him. And he's building a very solid argument, isn't it? We'll be right back.
na me kopie bibi so o ma no no nyama bi ho a onfi onka ho asem enye nasem bia me nua kuma Kevin e catch president Kufuor say o ye lazy nti na o te wheelchair mu no person obesora na nti no Kevin I think say you need to apologize to the old boy makana boko esese we apologize to the old boy because anya hwe kura no yare ye fan sere nipa what you say anya hwe kura no yare ye fan sere nipa ye to so bi o ne say defense ministry dan na esi ho no ni nua keto a defense minister of Ghana and our chassis no we the defense ministry na si ho no e won na chassis no we Kofi Annan peacekeeping center na si ho no enye Kofi Annan de si ye ne kapre ni peacekeeping center na si ho no Adokufo defense minister and the Jekufo as president na say Japade kakraka na si ho no e ba be si ho menka de aka do be ma wonan wa yenhuri ntrafra ka na bre o say ya na me kopie bibi so o ma no no nyama bi ho a onfi onka ho asem enye nasem bia me nua kuma Kevin e catch president Kufuor say o ye lazy nti na o te wheelchair mu no person obesora na nti no Kevin I think say you need to apologize to the old boy makana boko esese we apologize to the old boy because anya hwe kura no yare ye fan sere nipa what you say anya hwe kura no yare ye fan sere nipa ye to so bi o ne say defense ministry dan na esi ho no ni nua a defense minister of Ghana and our chassis no we the defense ministry na si ho no e won na chassis no we Kofi Annan peacekeeping center na si ho no enye Kofi Annan de si ye ne kapre ni peacekeeping center na si ho no Adokufo defense minister and the Jekufo as president na say Japade kakraka na si ho no e ba be si ho menka de aka do be ma wonan wa yenhuri ntrafra ka na bre o say ya.
Okay, yes, Prof. So you were making the point about how the central bank intervenes to keep inflation low.
Yeah. So the other bit of the central bank's role is that inflation has two components, one from food and one from non-food. And normally, especially in terms of imported products, Ghana is an import-dependent country, and therefore, if you don't stabilize the cedi and the cedi depreciates, it transfers right into domestic prices. And therefore, with the same amount of goods that you buy, you are spending more. And therefore, that cost transfers into our inflation. So the central bank's mandate to fight inflation is also indirectly to maintain the stability of the currency. Because you cannot fight inflation
when the currency is depreciating. And therefore, the measures that the central bank took in terms of the policy tools, the CRR, the currency reserve ratio, and the cash reserve ratio, all of that, and the open market operation were all geared towards ensuring that liquidity was taken out of the system to ease the pressure on the demand side for Forex as well. And so in 2025, the central bank was able to achieve some stability. Now, I was saying that over the 3 years before 2025, the cedi had depreciated by over 70%. And if it was going to correct, it had to appreciate, because when there are high volatilities, for it to normalize towards its normal trend, it has to appreciate to get back to the trend. And so Ghana observed over 40% appreciation of the currency. That appreciation of the currency brought enormous benefits to the country. One of them was the fact that the IMF had projected that the cedi was always going to be almost 15 cedis for 2025. And it was that projection that the Ministry of Finance used for its budget of 2025 for the external interest payments that was going to make.
But the budget was done in November.
Yes, it was done in November in 2024. And
the
then
budget for 2025?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So the November
but it was announced in the early
budget.
Precisely. So the 2025, we are talking about 2025.
Yeah.
All the discussion are related to 2025. So when the budget was read at the beginning of 2026, because the new government had taken place, that was the projection that went into the expenditure stream. Now, when the cedi was stabilized around 10.4, a lot of savings was made for interest payments. And when you look at the quantum of that saving and the fact that the appreciation of the currency itself led to a reduction in our government debt from over 60% to 45%, shows that the stability of the cedi had brought in its wake a lot of benefits to the country. But the central bank had to take the cost for that, because the central bank's income is derived from some of its assets that earn interest. I mean, when you begin to talk about the reserves, I'll tell you the dynamics and why the sale took place at that time.
How come okay, go on.
So when that happened and the currency appreciated, the central bank had to suffer some revaluation losses. And it had to also reflect in the accounts, right? So you are talking about the OMO cost, we are talking about the revaluation losses. And then the third one was the domestic gold purchase program. That policy intervention somewhere in 2021, 2022, 2023 was one of the most innovative policies the country had pursued. Why am I saying this? There's nothing wrong if a country has a commodity whose prices are doing well on the market and the country decides to hold, especially if they are precious minerals, to hold as part of its reserves. And gold is one of them. Of course, most countries hold part of their reserves in gold. So when we started a domestic gold purchase program, the idea was to hold part of the reserves in gold. And remember that over time, we're even transforming those reserves, gold for reserves, into gold for oil. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the sense that at that time, you could have a sense that because the central bank didn't have enough reserves, and at times the auctions for the BDCs to bring oil was not being met, that sent a signal to the speculators in the forex market. And that was part of why the currency was depreciating so fast. So a whole lot of factors were influencing the depreciation of the currency, and one of them was that. So the gold for oil was to use cedis to buy the gold, use the gold to bring in oil. And so no longer were the BDCs going to bid for Forex to bring in the oil, but we're using their cedis to purchase gold. The government exports the gold, some is kept out reserves, and then it's used to bring in the oil. That was when the depreciation of the currency, which was over 30%, began to tone down to almost 19%. So cumulatively, things were happening, and the central bank was clearly focused on what the central bank was doing to try to fight inflation and stabilize the currency. So 2025 was a game changer when the cedi appreciated. It brought so much benefits to the country. So at a macro level, Ghana benefited immensely that today the Ghanaian economy is relatively stable than we've seen in the past. But it had to come at a cost. The domestic gold purchase program itself, the way it is framed up, and the way the gold is purchased and the price that they are paid to the small-scale producers of gold, and the values that the central bank enters in its accounts by design, comes up with some losses. So that loss from the gold purchase program was also part of it. But we built reserves. And the reserves began to assure the markets and also to show credibility that the central bank had enough reserves to support intermediation in the market and even enough reserve buffers to support the economy in case there was any external shock, which over the recent years has become more rampant than we expect. I mean, Russian-Ukraine war, we had COVID, Russian-Ukraine war, and look at the Middle East war that we are having now. These are external shocks that do not come from our economy. But when you build enough reserve buffers, you're able to withstand the shock. And you send a clear signal to especially those on the forex market and investors that your economy will be able to withstand the shock because you have enough buffers to fall on. That was the idea of the domestic gold purchase program. And so that also came at a cost. So when you add up these three costs, the central bank incurred a huge cost. But the central bank is not a profit-making entity. The central bank monetary policy is a public good. And a public good comes with cost. For instance, when Ghana decides to build a road from Accra to Kumasi, and the road is built, it's a huge amount that is invested in that road. If the road is not tolled, the money doesn't come back. But what does it do? It expands the economy, it allows economic activities to go on, and the ripple effect of the output that it generates in the economy is what is the essence of that road. And so you should see economic policy, especially if you look at the mandate of the central bank, price stability, financial stability, supporting growth, ensuring the balance of payment position is sustainable. They are all crisis management mandates, and that will come at a cost. Every economic policy comes at a cost. So that is how we should look at this.
I'll come back to ask you after Gideon has spoken that is it therefore the case that central banks can make losses up to any level and it's okay because we have found losses made in MPP era and bigger losses made in NDC era. Is it the case that because they are not a profit-making organization, because they are supposed to create stability, they can make 100 billion losses and that's okay? But I'll come back to that. Think about that. Right. Let me get Gideon. He's not speaking. Gideon, what's your reaction?
Well, it's not necessarily a reaction, but I mean to state what the position is. I agree, and I also disagree in part that we have to assume that central bank are loss-making vehicles. That's not the case.
But they didn't say they are loss-making. They said they are not there to make profits.
I'm not saying. So I'm not saying.
That's what they said.
That's what he said. But I mean, that's.
No,
I'm not saying.
Okay, all right.
That has been a conversation. The fact that central banks are not profit-making, which is contestable in a way, does not necessarily mean that it should run at losses. The central bank has operational manual that it works with, if you so to speak. And so at any point in time, the central bank must execute that its operations such that it minimizes losses or it doesn't incur losses. If you take the case of the Bank of Ghana, as has been said earlier, relative to other banks, central banks elsewhere, we need to distinguish two things: a crisis period and a non-crisis period. In a normal system or period where there are no crises to the economy, exogenous or endogenous issues, it will be difficult for me to accept that the central bank should run at a loss.
When there are no crises in the economy.
When there are no crises. When there's crisis like happened in COVID-19, post-COVID-19, the Russia-Ukraine war, so many central banks incurred losses at the time. The Federal Reserve Bank of the US incurred about $192 billion loss. The Australian Bank about 36.7 billion Australian dollars. The European Bank about 16 billion, German bonds, all of that. During crisis period, it's acceptable because in the crisis period, the central bank becomes the thick wall that the country falls on. Mm-hmm. And they become, like you say, lender of last resort and make sure that everything is okay in the economy and show stability. Those ones are normal. When it happened like that, Ghana also incurred some loss in 2022. But when the crisis began to recede, you realize that the central banks across the world were beginning to come to a positive position. their losses were minimizing. That is why for Ghana, for the loss that was recognized in 2022, about 60 billion, which in today's terms would not be 60 billion because the accounting method that was used to calculate that loss is not what we are using today. Today we are talking about treatment in profit and loss and some in other comprehensive incomes. At that time, all of them were bussed together in the profit and loss accounts. Mm-hmm. So if we had applied the accounting method Bank of Ghana is using today to disaggregate the sources of the losses, it is very likely that the 60 billion that we talk about in 2022 would no longer be 60 billion. But let's put that one aside. Even with that, the government managed to put in place measures such that in 2023, the loss had reduced from 60 billion to about 19.2 billion.
That's a significant.
Significant. And in 2024, it had reduced to 9.4 billion. So Ghana was on the path of reducing our losses because we had exited the crisis, although there were some remnants of the crisis with us coming, but the effect and the intensity of the impact was not the same. And so nobody expected that in a post-crisis period where our losses are coming down, 2023 it came down, 2024 it came down, why should it go up in 2025 when we don't have any crisis? And I do not also completely agree with the assertion that the Central Bank of Ghana today and for 2025 is a victim of its own successes. No, I totally disagree with that because you have to disaggregate the loss and see the various components of the loss or what contributed to the loss. It is there and then that you will know whether or not the loss in totality is as a result of revaluation components, because the central bank is a victim of its own successes. It's coming from the revaluation losses. We are saying that, oh, there were, assets that had a certain exchange rate, and because the cedi has appreciated, if we revalue those assets in cedi terms, the value comes down. But if you look at the loss that the central bank posted in 2025, it comes in different components. We have the operational aspect of it, which basically comes from the Bank of Ghana's open market operations. That one has nothing to do with revaluation.
What is open market operation? Is it not towards the inflation, managing the inflation?
The open market operation is when the central bank decides that there is, for instance, excess liquidity in the system, and the bank wants to mop up the excess liquidity to reduce the liquidity level such that there will be fewer or less money chasing goods. You understand? When it happens like that, it's the boutique market and the macular market, the differences. So when it happens like that, then the prices will begin to drop and inflation will come down. That kind of operation has nothing to do with revaluation. And that operation posted about 15.6 billion cedis as loss. Okay? So
what does the operation entail?
I'll come to that, but I just want to disaggregate the components of the loss for you to know that when we say that the central bank is a victim of its own success, that may not be entirely true. And the other component of the loss is coming from the other, what we put into what we call the other comprehensive income. That is why the revaluation component comes in. And if you look at the data the Bank of Ghana put out, the other comprehensive income loss, was 19 billion. Out of the 19 billion, only 9.5 billion of that is coming from revaluation. The rest is not from revaluation. So if you look at the totality of the loss as has been recognized by Bank of Ghana, and this evening the Bank of Ghana has issued a statement on their website.
Is it a Q&A I'm just seeing?
The Q&A.
Yeah.
When the financial statement came out, and those of us on the minority side said that the loss is more than 15 billion because what they have put out as 15.6 billion excludes the loss in the other comprehensive income. Our colleagues on the RDD agree with us. This evening, the Bank of Ghana has put up Q&A on their website. And in the first, second, and third lines, one sentence, they have agreed that the other comprehensive loss are parts of the total loss. So the 34 billion loss that we were talking about has been accepted by the Bank of Ghana this evening. So as I've said, if you disaggregate the loss and you want to see whether or not the central bank has become a victim of its own success, you realize that out of the 34 billion loss that we are talking about, only 9 billion of that 34 comes from revaluation. Okay, 9 billion out of 34, if you start the percentage, it cannot therefore be that the bank is a victim of its own success. Then if you look at this whole loss issue we are talking about, one important issue in this whole discussion is the negative equity component.
Negative equity.
It is a serious matter, but you see, we are even focusing, we are just fixated on the loss. The Bank of Ghana is in negative equity position.
What does that mean?
In simple terms, it means that as at the time the accounts was prepared, if you value the Bank of Ghana assets against its liabilities, you know, the liabilities
will outweigh
the assets,
including their head office.
That's as is prepared. So that is the negative equity.
Does it include the head office?
No, why not? It means that the Bank of Ghana had a certain equity position. By the end of each financial year, if the Bank of Ghana makes losses, it eats from the equity. The equity begins to drop, such that it hits zero and it gets into negative. Okay,
that's difficult to believe. Is it including its shareholdings in Ghana International Bank?
That is.
Is that information from the bank?
Yeah, that is the information from the bank. That is why
that they're in a negative equity position.
If it were a commercial bank, we would have said that the commercial bank is bankrupt,
insolvent.
We come to insolvency.
That's different.
And this
different. Is also not capital adequacy ratio.
Insolvency is different from the negative equity in a way.
And it's also different from capital adequacy ratio.
I mean, technically, so if you take the
I'm concerned because what you are saying is very serious.
Let me dissect that one for you.
But you are saying it's smiling. It's not serious to you?
It's very serious.
It's really serious. But they didn't say that in any of the reports.
So I want to talk about the negative equity.
Okay, go ahead.
Talk about the insolvency. And then let you know and let everybody accept MPP and this, whether we like it or not. The Central Bank of Ghana is in a precarious situation. The Central Bank of Ghana today needs recapitalization. Paul, it's a serious matter. The bank needs recapitalization.
I want to disbelieve you.
No.
I'll come to you. Paul. Let him just end. Or you are happy for him to?
No, I want to come up with a narrative.
Okay, yes. Hold on. Do you agree with what he's saying?
Yeah. So negative equity. He has explained what a negative equity is. But the history of the negative equity was that at a point when Ghana was going to a domestic, what do you call it?
DEP?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was the need to close a financing gap, a gap that we needed to meet the domestic debt restructuring for the fund to come in. The central bank had to save Ghana at that time by taking a hit of almost 50%.
Of also not receiving his money.
Precisely.
So they also didn't get their money from government.
That instantly sent the equity into negative.
Was that not rescheduled? That debt? Is it cancelled? No. As far as the Bank of Ghana is concerned, is it cancelled?
No. Yeah, so
for the individuals, it's rescheduled.
Yeah, but this one was cancelled. So that was what brought the negative equity.
So the Bank of Ghana has been in negative equity since then?
Yes, precisely. Since so it's a cumulative thing, yes.
2024?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in 2023, I think 2023, so. 2022 or 2023. At the height of the domestic, what do you call it? Debt restructuring.
The debt crisis, yeah.
So the then management of a central bank saved the country by taking a hit for the country, for us to go on to the reform program, for us to recover the economy. So it was a good thing that Ghana did, but it sends balance sheets, the central bank's balance sheet, into negative equity. Right.
So this negative equity that Dr. Gideon talks about is not new.
No. It started at that time. So, but it's cumulated. Okay. So it's
is it worse now?
Yeah, it's worse now.
It's worse.
It's worse now.
But hold on, I'm interested in why is it getting worse?
Yes.
Because he made the point that even the losses were being recovered from 60 billion, 30 billion, 9 billion. Then suddenly it shoots up
anytime you make a loss at the end of the year, it will reduce your equity to make it worse. So in 2023, if we added to the loss, it was going to make a negative equity worse. If 2024 we made a loss, it was going to make it worse. If 2025 we made a loss, it was going to increase it.
That is not correct.
Now you see,
let me interject.
That is not correct in the sense that from 2023 to 2024, the negative equity reduced.
Yes,
okay?
but it was yes.
There was a reduction.
So it's returning to positive.
It started
so
reducing.
it's journeying back to positive.
Exactly. It
by
reduced
24.
to somewhere 50-something billion, and now it has shot up to 98 billion.
Yes, it's shot up.
Okay. So from 2023 to 2024, although the bank made a loss, albeit smaller relative to what it had made in 2025, the negative equity position reduced. So just as the loss was reducing from 2022, 23, 24, the previous government had also worked so that the negative equity was getting better.
But now it's all reversed.
And that is why the governor, when the president, ushered the governor into office, he made a firm promise to President Muhammad. I wish if you have that video.
We'll play it
today. The governor said that one of his prime mandates is to make sure that the negative equity position is reversed. This was last year. The governor made that pledge.
So
to
you are
President
saying he was unable
Muhammad
to achieve that?
That he wants the negative equity position to reverse. It was on the path of reversal.
Yes.
Rather, this time around, we have seen it shot up to about 98 billion.
Paul,
which
let
is
me
quite worrying.
Yes.
You see this whole discussion about the central bank, and if you look at the two sides, the majority and minority, is to apportion blame. I did worse, you did better. For me, we should look at the central bank as a state institution that is set up to clean the mess that happens in the economy. The Bank of Ghana is every central bank like a fire service. In economics. They are going to fight the fire when they don't cause the fire. So all of this, oh, I did better, you did worse. But you see, what we need to know is that the crisis that hit Ghana required a central bank to step in, take the bullets, and recover the economy.
That has happened already.
Precisely, no.
So in 2025 January,
no. The recovery, as at 1st January 2025, Ghana's economy are not fully recovered. Inflation was above 20%.
Has it recovered now?
Inflation is 3.2%. So let me talk. You see, we need to give credit to the policy choices that have been made from 2002 up to now.
2002?
Yeah, up to now. To the central bank. Yeah. No, 2022, I mean. 22 to now. That over the 4 years, the central bank has made conscious effort to fight inflation and get this economy on the path of
stability. But you're saying that it's back on the reversal.
No, it's not back on the reversal.
But you are admitting that the negative equity has deepened.
Yes, the negative equity has deepened. The negative has deepened, but at what benefit? Don't forget that. Don't forget that in 2024, even though we had reduced inflation over 20%, the currency depreciated about 90%. And don't forget that when the currency depreciates, the revaluation becomes positive on your assets and it comes to add to your income. Oh, the revaluation, because when your currency depreciates, you revalue your assets, it goes up, it adds to your income. So if we are looking at the debate of the central bank as a central bank without political colors, you find out that the cost of the greater stability that we enjoyed in 2025 was going to come higher than the stability that we enjoyed in 2024.
Gideon, hold it there.
Yes, I agree with Prof.
You agree that
I agree with Prof that the central bank should, at any material time, be in a position to correct the mismatches in the economy. But you see, once we are looking at benefits, the cost at which that comes with should be important to all of us. This is not the first time we are stabilizing the Ghanaian economy. And stability is relative. Today you may say you have done so well, you've stabilized, but it's quite relative because there are other things that need to be done. We stabilize this economy, okay? Relative terms, using relative terms because we reduce inflation from 54% to 23%. That is a 31 percentage point reduction at a cost less than reduction of inflation from 3%, 23% to 5%, 18-point reduction.
That the 18-point does it cost more?
It's costing more.
Well, could it not be, if you look at gradients, could it not be because you are getting into single days more difficult?
No, I'm coming. So you cannot say that a lower percentage point reduction in inflation should cost the country or the central bank higher than when there was a higher percentage point reduction.
It's not just inflation. You hold it.
That is the first point. Mm-hmm. Now, even when we talk about exchange rate, yes, the city is around 10 point something on the market, maybe let's say 12. People are happy. But the cost at which it comes with is mind-boggling.
What's the cost?
We have thrown in about $10 billion, okay, last year through gold board and all of that. The only thing that $10 billion was able to do for the exchange rate was a reduction from 14 to 12 on the market. In 2024, when it reduced from 16 to 14, 2 cedis difference, from 14 to 12, 2 cedis difference, it didn't have to take the central bank to inject $10 billion to achieve 2 cedi difference reduction.
Hold on, Prof. I'll come to you.
Okay? You don't.
No, you hold it. I'll come to you. Let him finish.
So, on that part of exchange rate reduction, 2 cedi difference. It's just that today, how much we buy the dollar is lower than how much we used to buy it in 2020, at the end of 2020.
Which is positive for the economy. But at what incidence, at what cost? Why do we have to inject 10 billion cedis? What else could have the 10 billion done?
It could have done more. If somebody was able to use, let's say, about $2 billion injection to reduce the price of the dollar relative to the cedi by 2 cedis, and you are using 10 billion, you should be able to achieve more than that. That is why I'm saying that.
Is that 10 billion lost?
We are paying more for less.
Where is the 10 billion? Is it lost? How come to you?
Nobody said it's lost, but that's the intervention that has been made
by the Bank of Ghana.
Exactly. We are paying less.
But I'm asking you that if they needed to make that intervention and the money is not lost and they have made the intervention and it's good for everyone,
I'm saying that we have committed more, but the returns, returns is less. That is what we should avert our minds to. That is what is going to help us to critically examine whether or not the path that the central bank is on is optimal. Because as for results, you can get.
So you are saying that if you are worried that if we go on like this, over the next 2-3 budgets, we're going to be in real trouble.
Real trouble. And if you give me the time, we will come there. What is the implication
of everything that is
of these losses, okay, to the taxpayer? Because at the end of the day, it's the taxpayer who is going to pay.
The taxpayer, keep that question. What's the implication to the taxpayer? Yes,
Paul, let me come in. You see, I keep on saying that it is not a matter of you did 10, I did 2.
But we can't run away from that.
We have to run away from that.
We can't because we're in a political situation.
We have to. The central bank is Bank of Ghana. It is not NDC Bank of Ghana. It's not MPP Bank of Ghana. And that is where I come from. The central bank is an institution that has a mandate to ensure price stability, to ensure financial stability, and to ensure that they support growth in this economy. It doesn't matter whether it's MPP or NDC in power.
But if someone is not
you
doing
cannot
the work
also
the
carry
way
out
they should do
in
it,
economics. In economics, you cannot carry out exchange rate analysis by taking quantum.
What do you mean?
What do you say quantum? You cannot say I reduce it by 2, increase it by 2. So it's the
there are
same.
other circumstances that determine it. You
It
mean
is
there
the
are other
depreciating rates that we talk about.
The rate at which is depreciating.
Precisely. I mean,
To
economics
stem the
are
tide.
yeah, precisely. You need to talk about depreciation.
So
You
you're
don't
talking
talk
about stemming the
Look,
tide.
if the CD was 4 and you made it 6, and the CD is 20 and I made it 22, even though they are all 2, they are not the same. So use the rate of depreciation.
Economics
So
can get
the point,
complicated
the point I'm making is that whatever happened in the past, the difficulty with which Ghana was trying to recover its economy was the exchange rate dimension. We are fighting inflation, we reduced inflation, and like Gideon said, by half, from 54 to about 23, which was good. At that time, the currency was still depreciating, and itself was making it difficult for the central bank to fight inflation. So something extra had to be done for us to maintain that price stability, for it to transfer into inflation, for us to drop inflation in single digits.
So
And if you like, take a survey of businesses in this country. Any businessman you talk, I'll ask them what the stability in 2025 has brought to them. So whilst we are trying to fight inflation, the cedi was still depreciating. Look, at 19% in 2024. If the central bank hadn't fought the depreciation of the cedi to let it appreciate, and the cedi even depreciated by 19%, the Bank of Ghana's books would have looked very good. I'm being honest with you.
Saying that,
go and take the counterfactual, and I've done that counterfactual. Go and take the counterfactual and let the cedi depreciate by 19% and check the central bank's books.
So you're saying that because
it is the
inflation was becoming a difficult, because the currency was becoming a difficult battle, the Bank of Ghana had to do whatever it could
precisely to stabilize the currency.
At whatever cost.
We noticed from the
at whatever cost.
Precisely, we noticed from the deliberations at the MPC that the bit that was coming from the depreciation was being too persistent. And if we are going to fight inflation, we have to do something about it.
Something significant.
Precisely.
At whatever cost.
Not at whatever cost. Paul, look, if you sit down to estimate the benefits that the cedi stability has brought to this country, I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about the cost. But let's look at the broader picture and stop apportioning. I did 10, you did 2, I did 8. That is not the issue.
Okay.
It is the central bank.
The question on the impact of taxpayers.
It is the interest.
Then I'll come to you on that.
Okay.
Land your point.
No, it is the central bank's mandate that the constitution has given the central bank for the central bank to meet. That should be our focus. It is a public good.
I've been hearing that.
After all, this country loses a lot of money to corruption. Nobody talks about it. So if a central bank,
we go to court.
Have you seen every cedi being retrieved? If a central bank is fighting the
President
fire,
Mahama said 600 million has been retrieved.
Go and talk to businessmen.
The president said Yoko 600 million.
Look, go and talk to businessmen and co and see. I'm an economist. I'm not talking for any party, but I'm saying that the stability that the cedi has brought to this economy is very refreshing. A businessman will tell you that, look, now I don't go and hoard my dollars because I want to import in 6 months' time. I go to the bank and the dollars are there, and it is because of the intermediation that has brought that stability. Look, Ghana needed the stability to build the resilience. We couldn't have had a depreciating cedi and be able to bring inflation down.
You're saying that whoever was at the central bank in 2025 would have had to take this.
Precisely, it didn't matter which party. No, it didn't matter.
So that the results that we are seeing today were fait accompli. We're going to have this.
It's the central bank that was doing its policy. Let's forget about this politicking thing. Because you look into the arguments, they did 2, we did 1. We did better than them. It doesn't really matter.
I wanted you to answer the question about the effects on the taxpayer.
It will be a great disservice to the country if we think that because we are getting results, we should not be concerned about the cost.
That's what I
said. I'm coming, please. It will be a great disservice to the country.
That's not what I said.
Because at the end of the day, and I'll come to that, it is the Ghanaian people who are going to pay.
So what's the effect on the taxpayer?
What I'm saying is that we don't have to pay more for less. That is where the relativity comes in. Nobody is disputing the fact that stability in the currency is good for everybody. But could we have achieved more? That is the point. If
as a human institution and the development agenda, we can always achieve more.
Paul, after injecting or intermediating the market with $10 billion, if we had things right, we should have been able to achieve more. And I stand by that. If you go into the numbers,
you're building to the argument of the handlers of the central bank. You are suggesting that there are another group of people who handled it better than this group of people. Is that the point you're making? That's really the point that Prof doesn't want to make.
No, you can't run away from that.
But he says we shouldn't do that
No,
because the central
why
bank
not?
is.
Why not?
But you see,
Because-
when you look at the Ghana Armed Forces, we never say that my armed forces did Liberia.
We are talking about
and then-
government of Ghana. Forget
Correct.
about MPP, NDC.
Yes, but he's making the point
And
about the
I'm
central
saying
bank.
that.
We don't say that about the armed
The
forces.
central bank is a central bank.
Like the armed forces.
And
It's
the
state
central
institution.
bank works within a fiscal year.
Yeah.
If for a particular fiscal year, the central bank was able to spend less to achieve more.
What did he achieve?
Please,
Let him finish.
to achieve more.
What did he achieve?
It should not be acceptable that in a particular fiscal year, We spend quadruple that
to achieve less
and achieve the same result.
No, it didn't achieve the same result.
He says more and less.
No, it didn't achieve the same result. We spent less. We spent less to reduce inflation. The currency was still depreciating.
Oh no, he's making a point.
Yeah, listen to my point.
The currency was
so if you want to make a comparison, then you go into the route of the comparison. We spent less.
You are saying that the recent Bank of Ghana interventions achieved a lower inflation and achieved a lower currency.
Yes, stable currency. That delivered a lower national debt.
He's saying that your intervention or the NPP's intervention.
It's not NPP's intervention. He said the central bank's intervention in 2024.
The central bank's intervention in 2022 did achieve lower inflation, but it did not achieve a lower interest rate. So that when you say more and less, what does it mean?
Each one stands on its own. We have to analyze them as they are. The inflation, what brought the inflation to the single digit is the huge cost we are talking about now. And I'm saying that you brought inflation from 23% to 5%, 18 percentage points.
And the currency, 14 to 10.
No problem. Why? For the first half of 2023, the cedi never depreciated.
6 months?
Yes! In this
6
country,
months.
I'm telling you, the data shows. First half of 2023, there was never a depreciation of the cedi. Look, we have been here before. In 2017,
but that's impressive.
I'm coming. 2017.
I mean, Prof, you agree with that?
I'm coming, Paul. Let me break this.
Okay, yeah.
2017, 2018, 2019, the economy was on a solid path. Single-digit inflation for 24 months. Precisely. We didn't incur this cost.
I get it.
So, Paul, let's get it right.
Because at that time, inflation was low.
It cannot
at that time, inflation. Go and look at the central bank's balance sheet.
Inflation was low because of policy behavior.
No. Go and look at the central bank's balance sheet. At the central bank's balance sheet at the time, was saying was positive.
Hold on. He's talking 17, 18, 19.
So let us admit that we don't have to incur gargantuan losses before we can stabilize the economy. So this loss that we are talking about, the central bank needs recapitalization. How is the central bank going to do that? The government may have to step in. Where the central bank is now, insolvency, negative equity to almost 100 billion cedis, the bank needs recapitalization. The fiscal authority will have to come in, and what they may have to do is to issue non-marketable bonds to the central bank. Now, those bonds will have to be serviced. The interest, will have to be serviced. And if the interest is to be serviced, they are going to be serviced from the budget. Once it is going to be serviced from the budget, it is you, me, the Ghanaian people who are going to pay through taxes over time. Let's accept that. Secondly, if the central bank wants to get to a positive equity position, the central bank may decide that for some years they will not pay dividends to government. It means that what is supposed to come to government
as a shareholder
will not come. Therefore, the monies that you need for your roads will be curtailed. You won't have it.
Oh, but they are doing big push.
Oh, please, I'm coming.
Okay, move on.
So that is going to affect the taxpayer also. Then again, there is what we call the trade-off, between the central bank's balance sheet and the public financing. Because if government has to recapitalize the central bank, where government is going to get the money from, nobody knows. But that money that is going to go into the recapitalization, that is the plan the central bank has made. You heard Atofalson saying that if the central bank needs recapitalization, they should sell their headquarters. Because he is not going to recapitalize the bank.
Oh, he said that they should sell their headquarters. He wasn't joking.
The finance minister has said it.
He wasn't joking. I thought
the finance minister doesn't joke like that. He said that the central bank needs recapitalization from the government. And he is not going to recapitalize the central bank. If they need recapitalization, they should sell the headquarters. If they don't sell, and the central bank eventually comes in to recapitalize, whatever monies that the fiscal authority is going to take from the consolidated fund to recapitalize the central bank is the monies that must go into school feeding, is the money that must go into healthcare, it is the money that must go into our education, it's the money that must finance our roads and all of that. So at the end of the day, these huge losses we are talking about, some of which were avoidable from the point of the central bank, it is the Ghanaian people who are going to suffer at the end of the day. And I'm saying some of them were avoidable because part of the cost, especially on the Omo side, the open market operation is coming from the bank's own policy failures. Because when the previous government realized that there was the need to finance the open market operations in the mopping up of excess liquidity to tame inflation, two main critical policies were introduced. The cash reserve ratio, okay, with the commercial banks, the one on the cedi and the one on the dollar. They maintained the one on the cedi and suggested that the one on the foreign exchange, they have to revise it. What the previous government did was that because banks were paid DDP, whatever.
It was not a decision of a previous government. I'm a member of the MPC. We made that decision.
Prof.
So let's take the central bank from government. And that's the point I'm keep on making.
Prof. Oh, you've been on MPC through.
Yeah, I was actually on the MPC tour. You see, Paul.
Let me
let him land.
No, Gideon, I was there. So let me make a correction of what he's saying.
Yes,
there's no
correction. That was a correction. He made an error. So
what was the error?
Let me tell you the error. The decision we made about the dynamic CIR was
we
done.
don't understand that.
So a dynamic CIR said the banks are supposed to keep reserves with the central bank, which is a normal practice, right? Now, we noticed that there was too much liquidity in the system. The banks were also not giving credit to the private sector. So we made a decision at that time that we're going to make the cash reserve ratio dynamic, in the sense that if your loan to deposit ratio was above 50%, it means that the deposit you receive, you give him out over 50% to credit.
This commercial banks you're talking
The
about.
commercial banks. You are going to keep a cash reserve ratio of a lower level. Now, if it was between 50 and 40%, you're going to keep a higher level reserve ratio. And then if it was below 40%, you're going to keep even a much higher, almost about 30%. I'm not too sure about the figures. The intention was at that time, it was not a government decision. It was a central bank decision. That's the point I keep on making. It was done to try to make sure that the commercial banks were giving credits and not using their forex, their excess cash to buy forex, because that pressure was going to also lead to a depreciation of the currency. So we said, look, once you give more loans, you hold less reserves because you are intermediating. The idea was to ensure financial intermediation. That's why we did that. Now, at that time, the decision was that because the forex was depreciating, we didn't want to hold any of their forex deposits as reserves so that they could use that to intermediate. So we take your foreign currency deposit, we add it to your cedi currency deposit, and then we look at the loans, and then we ask you to keep your reserves in cedis so that you can mop up the liquidity in the cedis and leave the dollars to be used for intermediation. Now, in May 2025, after doing this policy for almost from 2024 to 2025, normally when policies like that are done, as part of the MPC process, we go to the market, to the banks, to try to gauge the impact of the policy and how they are reacting to it. We have consumers at the banks reporting that when they go to deposit their foreign currency, the banks reject them. You know why? Once he picks the deposit, that ratio of loan to deposit will drop, and it goes into the higher band of the cash reserve ratio. And the banks didn't want that. And therefore, when you go, they'll tell you that, go, if you are not accepting your forex. Meanwhile, we needed the forex to come into the banking system for intermediation. So he said, look, if we are holding the cedis, the single currency dynamic cash reserve ratio, let them hold cedi for cedi, dollar for dollar. The dynamic CR is still intact. We've not done anything to that. And it was because of an analysis. No, the error that he said was that we have changed the dynamics and we are injecting liquidity into the system.
No.
So that was the point I've made.
I said you are injecting too much liquidity.
Yes, that's
to achieve too little.
No, he doesn't understand the dynamic CRR thing. He should go and no, he doesn't.
Oh, Prof.
No, with all due respect, that you see,
you don't have to say that.
No. You see, no.
You didn't even let me land. Okay.
Your point of order was on the error.
Yes, on the error, and I've made a
correction. We have to be wrapping up. So let me land on the taxpayers effect, and then I'll come to you.
Not the taxpayers effect. There's nothing that we have said on the dynamic that is different from what we have said. I mean, the thing about
so that there's no error.
I don't understand. With all due respect,
I'm not saying that. You see,
you have two components of the dynamic cash reserve ratio.
That one is going to confuse my viewers who are not economists. So
there are no two companies.
So you
there
just get
are dual currency and single currency.
We don't understand that. It's very technical.
So it's two components. Is it not two components?
Yes, foreign currency and local currency is two components.
That is what I'm talking about. It's two components.
So what's the point you are making about
what
that?
You maintained is a single currency.
Yes, they did.
Then you reverse the dual currency one. Okay? I want Prof to tell me that the reversal of the dual currency dynamic cash reserve ratio did not lead to higher cost, higher OMO cost.
Let me answer.
I need to understand it. The reversal
the reason why it led to higher.
So if I have CDs, I go to CDs.
The reason why it led to higher OMO cost was that if I were a commercial bank and I had $100 and I had 1,000 CDs, the dynamic cash reserve ratio applies a certain percentage on my 1,000 CDs, depending on my loan deposit ratio. On your dollar, okay, what had been said is that on paper, convert your dollar into CDs so that we apply that on your CD stock, not on your dollar stock.
For the commercial banks.
Exactly, because
this is between central bank and commercial
because
bank.
the central bank wanted to mop up more of the CDs, okay, unremunerated.
Good point.
Okay. So when you say I don't understand that,
so to respond to that,
the central bank wanted to mop up more of the CD.
Take CDs from people.
Unremunerated. So a certain portion of the CDs will go to the central bank without the central bank paying any interest on them.
Which is buying CDs.
Your CDs, all right.
I give to a commercial
it's a policy,
bank.
okay?
So I give my CDs to Ghana Commercial Bank.
The commercial bank, I mean, money is fungible. The commercial bank takes deposits from all kinds
I get
of
it,
people.
yes. So I give them
and then the
1,000
commercial bank
CDs.
decides to participate in the OMO market.
Which is what?
Of the open market operations. Okay, it's a
which
bill.
Which does what?
It's a bill. Only commercial banks, it's done at the interbank level.
Yeah.
You cannot go directly to participate in that.
I get it.
You can do T-bills and all of that. But the commercial bank participates in the OMO market. So Bank of Ghana says, want to mop up. They are giving you a certain percentage of interest rate. If you bring the money to me, 1,000 CDs, we pay interest on it. But per the dynamic cash reserve ratio, a certain percentage of the funds is given to Bank of Ghana, all remunerated. Bank of Ghana does not pay any interest on it. So if you have 1,000 CDs and a dynamic cash reserve ratio of 10% is applied, it means that 100 CDs goes to the central bank and the central bank pays no interest on it.
But you pay the interest on the rest.
The 90 CDs, the 900 CDs, if you decide to take it back to government central bank, they will pay interest. Some banks will also loan some to the private sector. Then you also have $100 in your vote. The central bank is saying that we still want to tap into your 900 CDs remaining or whatever CDs you have. So the $100 you have, convert it on paper into CDs. So if it is 10 to 100, that will be 1,000. And the central bank, again, will take 100 from that. So you realize that the central bank has 200 CDs from you at their end without paying interest on that. Now, when they reversed it, it means that the banks will then keep their $100, will not convert it on paper to CDs for the central bank to take 100 CDs unremunerated. So the only amount of money that the central bank has taken from the commercial bank unremunerated becomes 100. Any other thing that comes, they will pay interest on it instead of having 200 free of charge. So that is what is contributing to the higher OMO cost. Okay, it is not any error.
You are saying that the $100 that you are talking about, now if you go to dual currency, he's going to keep also part of the $100, it's reserved, that will also not be remunerated. So it is not like the $100 is still there like that. You see, Paul, don't confuse OMO with CRR. They are entirely two different things.
CRR, I don't think.
Leave the OMO out. We are talking about CRR. They are two different things.
The impact on
by fractional reserve banking.
He is saying that the taxpayer is going to lose because at this rate, the Bank of Ghana needs to be helped. Now, the money that they will help the Bank of Ghana is the same amount of money that would have built a school.
Look, the government has to recapitalize the central bank. Because the government that caused the central bank to get the negative equity.
Yeah, but in doing so,
I'm coming. It is the government that caused the central bank to get a negative equity.
Fair enough.
So it is fair that the government will come.
Yeah, but the opportunity cost to the citizens of the government.
Paul, if I'm a central bank, I'm running efficiently. You come and cause my equity to go negative.
Yes.
And now you are telling me that
bad policy.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad policy.
By gold board.
No, that's not the domestic debt restructuring is what sent the central bank into negative equity.
Oh, the old one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We are still
How much have you
added?
So the point I'm making is that if anybody has to solve the problem of the central bank,
it is government.
It is the person who sent the central bank
Yeah, but
into
at what
negative.
cost? At what cost?
Yes, but they have sent us to negative
So
already.
we should ignore schools and recapitalize central bank.
Look, you see, so that sort of analysis, that sort of analysis point, and you know why I'm saying that. Okay, let me ask you a question. If the city depreciates, and today the city is 20 cedis, fuel prices are sold at 50 cedis a gallon, and government is giving you school fees and all of that, building roads for you are okay.
Well, I don't know.
Than if the government stabilizes prices and your standard of living improves, your purchasing power improves.
But I'm a teacher and I've not been paid in 14 months.
It's not that you're a teacher and not been paid in 14 months. That's not the issue that we are talking about. He's saying that
electricity has gone up times 3.
He's saying that if the government is going to solve the issues the central bank has,
it will cost the taxpayer.
And the point I'm making is that it's because you are not putting any value on what the monetary policy has done for the economy.
The taxpayer must recognize that without these policies, it would have been worse off.
Precisely. And let me give you one. Okay. The government itself, government public debt was 60% of GDP. The stabilization of the cedi and the appreciation brought the public debt to 45% of GDP.
Great.
Do you know how much savings the government had made?
Significant.
2. The interest payments that the central bank has, you should go and check the government budget in 2025.
So you are saying that we can talk about losses, but we should look at what the benefits are.
That's the argument.
I think that's
you need to do a cost benefit analysis.
Yeah,
stop hampering on the cost. Look at the benefits.
Look at the benefits.
Yeah.
I have a problem.
Why do you have a problem?
I have a problem because, look, Prof just mentioned debt to GDP ratio that has come down from
60 to 45.
61 to 45.
That
is 16 percentage point decrease.
Yeah.
And it's coming at a huge cost. There was a reduction in debt to GDP ratio from 92% to 61%, 31 percentage point decrease without such a huge cost. Look,
Prof doesn't like you to make the comparison on the political basis.
That is problematic. This is not a. No.
You see,
how do we not do that?
If you don't do that, you wouldn't see whether or not.
Why should we not do that?
You are maximizing.
You should have listened to Gideon 2 years ago. No, you the media men, you don't help the discourse in this country. I'm telling you, you should have listened to. You should have listened. Go and play those videos. I've been consistent in the voice that I say. I'm coming. I've been consistent.
Governor said that he was going to reduce the equity at the
I said go and replay the video in 2023.
Just
and listen to Gideon.
And
listen to him now. No, I'm not going to say it. Go and listen to what the NDC2 said in 2023 and what they are saying now. And that is why I'm saying precisely.
When it comes to
if we leave this discourse and we leave the politics out, you see that the central bank shouldn't take any blame.
Okay, yes.
Isolate NPP. Isolate NDC.
That's
Ghana.
what he's crying for.
No, yes, this is Ghana.
Precisely.
And the same Ghana has been able to do something, achieve more with less cost. The same Ghana is doing the same thing, achieving less with higher cost.
When you say achieve more, look, let's look at achievement.
Shouldn't we ask that question?
No.
Yes, forget about politics.
Paul, let me come. Let's take the key performance indicators of the central bank monetary policy. I beg you, just give me 5 minutes to do that. Inflation, there's inflation, there's stability of the currency. These two, right?
These are their core sort of.
Yeah, they have to. Yes. So let's take these two, apart from financial stability. And let me tell you, the reason why the dynamic CI was even changed was that when you hold those high reserves, you take their series. You send a cost to them. They are going to transfer the cost to interest rates.
Yeah.
At that time, we wanted lending rates to come down, so we didn't want them to transfer the cost. You can talk to any banker.
Lending rates have come down.
So let's talk about it. Look, Paul.
Okay, Prof.
Let's take only these two.
Your point is that if you look at any central bank,
currency stability and low inflation. These are two. Let's take only these two.
And these have been
when
achieved.
Gideon begins to do the comparison, then you should complete the comparison. Yes, you spend less, it costs less. You only brought down inflation, you couldn't stabilize the currency. Somebody has brought down inflation and has appreciated the currency. It's reduced our debts, it is reduced the expenditure. The part of the reason why government expenditure, the deficit was reduced was because interest payment on external debt reduced because of the appreciation of the currency. And the stability that Ghana enjoys now is because of the central bank's
policy in trying to reduce inflation and stabilizing the currency. That is different from what happened in 2024.
Fair enough. So Prof, we should have no questions about
I didn't say we should discuss the cost items, and the central bank have to do something
but not
about
with
it.
Political lens.
That is my argument. No point. That's why I said go back 2 years ago.
That's going to be very
go back to 2 years ago. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, Gideon, you have the final word.
When you say political lens, I find it difficult to appreciate what Prof decided to do. Isolate inflation, currency. That is what suits his argument. Okay? It may favor a certain political cause.
I'm not saying anything to favor any political cause.
We understand
that. You. I'm
saying
it may.
The narrative can favor a political
and you talk about debt to GDP. And I'm pointing to you that the reduction in debt to GDP from 61% to 45% cannot be said to be a super performance because the same country, relative to the period you're talking about, reduced debt to GDP from 92% to 61%, a 31 percentage point decrease without the cost that you're talking about. Let's situate the argument within that context. Then also, we are talking about saving the country by the central bank. Is that not it?
Yeah.
It means you want the central bank to be there all the time.
To do that work. Yeah.
To do that work. Yet, this same central bank that we want to exist in perpetuity to do that work, we had virtually run the central bank aground.
Who did?
It's not true.
You see,
who did?
It is not true.
Go and look at the financials. The central bank, as at September, October.
He says that you are trying to say a certain group of people manage the central bank better. He doesn't want you to say that.
I'm talking about 2025. The central bank, as at September, October 2025, was insolvent.
It's not true.
This bank.
That's what the report is showing.
No, the report doesn't say that. It's not true.
Okay.
It's not.
Was insolvent.
Do you know what policy insolvent means? Let me explain.
We have run out of time. Let him finish there.
The central bank was policy insolvent.
Central Bank of Ghana has never been policy insolvent.
Okay, well, I've seen that headline.
It is not there. Go and check the financial. It is not there.
Okay, please, you finish. You
Central Bank was not policy insolvent.
In terms of accounting insolvency, it's already insolvent because of the negative equity. For policy,
that is fine. Policy.
Accounting insolvency.
Yes.
The central bank is already insolvent
yes.
in accounting terms.
Yes.
On policy insolvent, they had to take the magic wand of the sale of the 18 tons of gold for the central bank to be solvent.
Is what the sale of the gold.
The reason why that is so critical, Prof knows. Why, Prof? Why is it that when we are computing our primary balance, the IMF does not allow us to include a one-off revenue in the primary balance? Because that is not your normal recurring income.
Yeah, but this one is a normal. This one is normal.
It is not.
It's normal.
They continue to do it.
It's normal.
It is not.
Let me tell you why.
Please let him finish.
Your reserves.
I'll give you the last one.
When the central bank sold the gold at the time, and we questioned it, they said, we are using it to shore up our reserves. Is that not the argument they made?
Yeah.
Today, their own financials has exposed that falsehood, that they did not use that to show the reserves, but rather they use it to increase their income position in order for them not to be insolvent. Had it not been that,
please get two text messages.
The central bank was going to be insolvent. So the central bank that we want to exist to save us, we should not kill it.
Yeah.
Okay,
if your actions and your practices are such that your savior is going to die, then you have no life.
Central Bank of Ghana is not good at that. Policy insolvency. When you say a central bank's policy insolvent, what you mean is that the operating income of the central bank should be able to fund all its monetary policy actions. Okay?
Failure of that.
I'm coming. Then it becomes insolvent. So I'm coming to that. Now, where does the operating income from the central bank comes from? It comes from fees and commissions. It comes from interest on instruments that it holds. It comes from investment of its reserves and making profits. So if I have reserves and I can sell my reserves for money to add to my income, it is stated clearly.
Why doesn't the IMF allow you to compute it?
Compute what?
He said the IMF doesn't
allow you. He's talking about something different. He's talking about revenue.
I was talking about why
revenue.
The one-off.
So it's revenue.
So you are saying that
it has to do with revenue.
falling on your assets.
You have reserves that are keeping in gold and then in
and
foreign.
If you need money,
you can invest it in any instrument.
So tomorrow we may have to sell the headquarters of the central bank to make the
That's what you said at 247.
No, the central bank
Thank you very much.
The central bank is not politics.
Ikuya, let me start with you. What are people saying? 2 messages and then we are done. Viewers, really sorry about keeping you until midnight.
Thank you so much, Paul. Coming from Master Planner Jr. in Kintampo, he says, Dr. Gideon Buaku is always on top of issues. It is refreshing listening to him. The fact is that the Bank of Ghana has made losses and this cannot be tied solely to economic management. What economic sense does it make if inflation is even 1% and the dollar is at 1:1, but farmers are struggling to sell their farm produce? Cocoa prices have reduced drastically. Electricity and water bills are increasing, along with Dumso. Teachers and nurses' salaries remain unpaid. Security services rent allowance are also unpaid. The NDC cannot deceive Ghanaians with the artificial economy. Just give some time. Coming from Nana Owusu, he says, isn't it interesting that Prof. Texan is saying the dollar has depreciated against the cedi, but it is not reflecting in the people's pockets. The ordinary Ghanaian worker is either underpaid or has not been paid for 12 months or more. Contractors have not also been paid, yet the slogan is, oh, the cedi has appreciated. Only a few importers are able to afford the dollar rate at the Bank of Ghana because Abochi still has the dollars. Again, the rate at the ports is similar to Abochi's rates. The economy is now import-oriented, yet the IDIF agenda has been pushed to the back burner. And from APJ, he says, a brilliant submission from Dr. Gideon Buaku. He's a top-notch scholar. Ella, what's that?
Thank you very much. It seems that people were not quite pleased with Prof's suggestions when Doc was speaking. This one is from Kofi Oche. He says, Prof is not a politician, but Gideon is. Unless Prof can tell the NDC to keep quiet, he should allow us to do our politics. Because if you invite anyone from any institution, they can definitely defend their mess. Someone says, Prof is being a hypocrite in the sense that he wants the central bank to be independent. Why was the report to be released to the NDC communication before the central bank itself? And lastly, from Yao February, he says, the higher loss of central bank is the reason why minority NPs were criticizing government's decision for withdrawing 19 tons of gold from the gold reserve, which was about $5,000 for a ton, by selling it out for $3,500 per ton, just to pump it into the markets to stabilize the Ghana cedi against the US dollar and other trading currencies. Also replace the gold under the gold reserve for buying it at a higher price per ton. This makes absolutely no sense to me.
All right, viewers, it's been nice. Thank you very much. We had a very powerful and interesting discussion. We'll still look at our social media page tomorrow and you get a whole discussion again. Thank you to Professor Ebu Texan and Dr. Gideon Buaku, Member of Parliament for Tano South.
Tee up someone in red, and it goes towards.